Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 1025, 1063, The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. Thank you, D-Mace. I'm figuring out a headset situation. Willie's back.
Is this thing on? Does this work? Hello?
Gotta get the dust off
Hello.
of it, Willie. It's just been sitting in the corner this whole time.
It's good to be back, peeps. What's going on?
I can hardly even recognize you.
I know. I've missed 8 straight shows.
It's been 84 years, approximately. But happy to have you
In
back
radio
into the
years.
fold.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. Radio years are like dog years, except longer.
Yes.
Good trip?
Oh, fantastic. I've been everywhere. That was like the Johnny Cash song. We were in 11 different states on this last trip. And then if you add going to Louisiana the week before for the last travel tournament, that was 3 more states. So I think I calculated 18 states for the summer that we've driven to. But this was the big one. We had vacation in there. My son Mahoney was pitching up at a showcase up there. He did really well. And then the rest of the time we did a lot of family stuff, saw a lot of different people, went to some ballparks. I actually saw the Phillies no-hitter by Michael Lorenzen. I had never been to a Major League game where a no-hitter was thrown.
It's
that
so
was
cool.
really cool.
So
amazing. And I had no link to either team, but with the home team doing it, the crowd building each inning, they had about 30,000 there. The Phillies are, they're in the race.
Right.
They're the defending NL champs, so it's a pretty good atmosphere there. And it was awesome. I mean, that was, you kind of jump on the bandwagon. You're just like, hey, we're here. Let's see something special. So by the end of the game, we're cheering for the Phillies. I never cheer for the Phillies. I'm a Mets fan. But you get caught up in the moment. So that was pretty cool.
Especially at the home ballpark, it's hard to not
yeah.
feel a little bit of the magic happen.
And we had been to the Mets game the night before, and the Mets are clearly out of it, going in a different direction. So we could duck that in a little bit and not feel like we're cheating on
you
the
can
Mets.
team hop for a little bit. I won't.
But we went to 4 big league ballparks in 5 days. Fenway, and then on the way home, driving home, we went to the Mets, the Phillies, and then the Orioles yesterday. We played an afternoon game.
To say, did you
and
go
so
to
we
the
looked for the
Orioles?
D-Mace. We saw the Ray Lewis and the Johnny U
yes.
statue, but
mine was. You didn't see mine.
It was tucked around the corner a little bit.
Tucked around the
You know,
corner.
we
You
did-
didn't go
we-
all the way around.
we did.
yes.
we
It's being
tried.
cleaned.
We asked security if we could walk into the stadium. We
Okay.
seriously did this because we snuck into the Eagles Stadium before the Phillies game, and Mahoney he has no fear. Like he did it with LSU's field, and I didn't have the guts to do it. I stayed in the hallway there where the Phillies, the Eagles Hall of Fame is, with Harold Carmichael and Wilbert Montgomery and Ron Jaworski and all those
So
guys.
cool.
He ran up the stairs and went out on the field and took a picture of himself. And did it. So we wanted to do it for Baltimore. We asked the security people, hey, can we just walk in there and take a selfie and walk right back out? And they were like, no, we can't do it. We can't do it. The security. We're like, what? You got to be kidding
Never
me.
ask permission.
We're like, we know
Only
D-Mace.
ask forgiveness.
Absolutely.
We know D-Mace.
Hey man, y'all didn't say it loud
I know.
enough.
We should have dropped your name. That might have helped us.
Exactly.
But it was great. And all 4 of the major league parks were fantastic atmospheres. Obviously, Fenway is off
Classic.
the charts. But everybody's got a good atmosphere. And the speed of the game. Every one of the games were about 2.5 hours or less. The game is moving so much better. So the big league product, I think, if you were one of those fans like, I don't like going, the games take too long, those days are over. Unless you get a slugfest, and in which case it's a really fun, you're happy to stay there, right? If it's going back and forth and it's 10-9, that's great. But the game moves. It doesn't drag. And so I think the product is the best it's been in a long, long time.
It really is a very noticeable difference. And now I find myself getting so used to how short the games are that when the games go maybe a little bit longer than usual like for this season, like let's say closer to 3 hours, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know.
Get on with it already. When last year, in the entirety of my baseball watching lifetime, games were 3.5.
The average was 3:05 last year. The average. This year, the average is 2:35.
Oh wow.
That's
And so the
massive
no-hitter, for
difference.
example, was 2:09. So we were out of there. Which was great
quick.
for us because we're trying to drive back down here, eventually get here. So we're going. We got to get to our next spot. So we're driving an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending where we were going the next day. So it was great to get out of there. If we had a 3 or 4 hour game, that's costing us big time. So and then the smaller market teams. It's too bad that the Cardinals, the Tigers, and the Mets are having lousy years. But
yes.
Not a
but you
great
look at
season
that. We
for
saw the
show.
Orioles yesterday. They're finally getting good. Their fans are excited. You know, Rays. You know, some other Reds.
The
Other
Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks they're on the skids now, but they were in there for
They
a
were heating
while.
up.
But some of the smaller market teams are having good years, so that's another good thing I think for the game.
209 is crazy. That's like half of
209.
a CBS 230 college football game.
Yeah.
209 is crazy.
But you love that. You get in, you see a great game, you get out of there.
And it was his career high in pitches at 124, which is kind of insane to put into comparison.
high.
Yeah, 124, and then also in the game, you never know. This is the beauty of going to a game as opposed to just flipping a game on. You just never know what you're going to see. You might see something crazy. So there was a kid from Clemson, first major league at bat, homered on the first pitch, or first swing that he had, second pitch. Weston Wilson is the guy's name. I think he played against Vanderbilt in a regional several years ago, but that was cool, right? You see a moment like that. If he gets a standing ovation. So he may never have another moment in his life like that. He could never. Maybe he doesn't stick. Maybe he doesn't play for 5 years,
at
but
least he hit a home
he'll
run.
have that. He can always say, he tells Greg, I homered at my first major league at bat.
And then his kids are going to be like, no, Dad, like, we know you talk about that all the time.
Here he goes again,
We
telling the
get
story.
it.
Okay.
We get it.
Yeah, I know. You hit a home run,
I
fine.
know you
First
told
swing,
us.
Yes.
His family was there, though. They were going nuts, as you can imagine.
Oh,
like
I'm
they showed
sure.
him there. And Michael Lorenzen's mom was in the stands, the mom. And you want to talk about emotional. She was just bawling, and shooting the video on her phone just like all the fans were. It was just hilarious.
I
It
mean,
was
that
awesome.
has got to be,
Yeah.
your whole life when you're rooting
Yeah.
for your kid
I
and
know.
chasing their dreams. That's got to be the coolest thing.
Oh,
But
it was awesome.
Glad you
Weston
had a good
Wilson
trip.
is a former Sound, by the way. Just
Oh,
put
is
that-
he?
Yeah.
Ah,
Drafted
all
by
right.
the Brewers back
I
in the
should have
day.
been dropping that knowledge in the stands. So I needed you there, Nick. Where were you?
Sorry. Hey, I was here. I was holding down the fort.
I should
Not just soccer, Nick. Baseball, Nick, too.
I was referring to you as George Costanza. Where were you, man?
But glad you had a good trip, Willie.
Oh, it was
Happy
great.
to have you back into the fold.
Glad to be back. Let's talk.
Let's
talk
get
some
into
sports.
it because we've got football tomorrow. We've got a Titans game tomorrow. Now, Willie, D. Mason and I were throwing this question around yesterday. I want to get your thoughts on this. How much do you want to see from the starters?
I think they should play a little bit. I'm one of those that, even if it's 2 series, I think it's smart to play the starters. You can play them or not play them. We know, like, for example, Ryan Tannehill did not play a snap in the preseason that I can remember last year, right? Isn't that right? I don't think he played a single
I don't
down.
think so. It was all Logan Woodside and Malik Willis.
And he still got hurt in the season. So, it can happen. It can happen in practice. So I'm not one of those that says don't play them because they might get hurt. I do think there's something to be said for a little bit of get your work in, get out of there. So I'm a 1 to 2 series guy.
That's what I said yesterday. And in camp so far, the offense hasn't looked great. I mean, Ryan Tannehill in practice yesterday threw a pretty bad interception. And I think he has either 3 or 4 so far in camp. So I want to see them just get in, get acclimated, let Ryan Tannehill continue to build rapport with the offensive line. It's a new offensive coordinator, a new offensive system. I want to see it in a game setting. I don't need to see Ryan Tannehill for an entire half. Like 2-3 series max is fine. That's all I really need. But I think just getting that in-game experience is valuable, especially considering how slow this team started off in the first game this past season, how rough they looked in that Arizona Cardinals game at the beginning of the 2021 season. I don't need to see a lot. I just want to see a little bit. Just to hop in there, get the rust off. And it's not like the Chicago Bears defense is going to be anything that really, instills fear. So I think it's a good opportunity to get some quality game reps in the new system with so many new pieces and parts on this offense.
The offensive line, too, Derek, wouldn't you say? That's everything I've read since I've been gone trying to keep up. It centers around hey, the offensive line, they're going up against a very good defensive line in practice every day, but it looks like they could use some work. And it might be fun to play against somebody other than the guys in your same uniform.
Oh, it will be fun. But, you know, like I said yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Tannehill plays. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. You know, considering the circumstances of, you know, where the Titans are at, their offensive line. And I know everybody wants to see, you know, Ryan Tannehill in front of this offensive line, you know, during live games. But the situation that they're in, I don't think you can do it. I don't think it benefits your team anyway. One reason why I don't want, you know, I really don't want to see him in a game, but okay, if he plays, okay, I get it. Terrell Williams is the head coach. Something happened to Ryan Tannehill. You know who they're going to looking at? They're going to be blaming Mike Vrabel.
Why?
And then, because my thing is, if he goes in a game and he gets hurt, say in the first series, people are going to say, well, whose decision was that to make? The Ryan Tannehill play, was it Terrell Williams' decision, or was it Mike Vrabel's decision? And Mike Vrabel, as a head coach, why are you playing your starting quarterback in front of an offensive line that is still a work in progress? It's not like you got Taylor Lewan, Ben Jones, you know, anchoring that offensive line. You don't. You have a bunch of new guys. I know Brewer is not new, but you're still ushering in some other guys that hadn't played together. Why would you throw them out there? That we all would ask that question. That would be the first. I can hear Jared right now screaming over the airwaves if something was to happen to Ryan Tannehill with Terrell Williams as head coach in a game that doesn't mean anything. I understand Ryan can get hurt in practice. I get that.
And Ryan can get hurt first game of the season behind that offensive
But him
line.
getting hurt now, why would you even take that chance? It's like, why would they even put my guy out there to take that chance? I get it. Nobody's gonna fuss if the first game of the season or in practice, Ryan Tannehill gets hurt. Ryan Tannehill gets hurt in practice. Why? Because there may be a guy may trip over an offensive lineman. Offensive line may fall back, or more than likely, he's getting hurt on non-football, non-contact. It's a non-contact injury, which means sometimes it's an ACL or an Achilles, something like that. But if he gets hurt in the regular season, people are like, okay, I get it. But if he get hurt in one of these games, the fans are going to want to have his head. Everybody on that coaching staff. They are. Because, again, why are you playing him? It's not like you got a veteran offensive line. Taylor Lewan's not at your left tackle. Ben is not at your center. Nate Davis is not here. You don't have these core guys that you have been with. So why throw them out there? Again, I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I'm thinking like, who does that benefit? It only really hurts if something happens.
That's for sure. It's the risk reward. But you don't think there's a benefit, though, for a couple series, getting the rhythm, getting used to the new guys, the routine? You don't think that is worth doing?
Anytime you go out there and you can, when you're playing against another opponent and you go out there and you're running through your place, it's all beneficial. It's beneficial when you're out there at practice every day. But I am not going to subject my starting quarterback when the guys behind him are young and unproven. Anything happens to my starter, the season's done. Now the defense got to work extra hard to try to make up for us not having our starting quarterback. Again, it sounds great, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did play. But if he gets hurt, everybody in the city of Nashville, the surrounding areas, everywhere in Tennessee they're going to want to have Mike Vrabel's head asking, and Rand Carthon asking, why did you put him in that game in front of an offensive line that isn't proven?
I hear ya. I know. I hear ya. So let's continue the conversation coming up next, because the offensive line is absolutely a concern about this team. What TD had to say about the offensive line, we'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
Rebound, fly out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big stories.
Andrew Burnett reportedly hired as the next head coach of the Predators.
All in one place. We We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Comparing goalies to running backs.
46-27 Vanderbilt.
Does this group of players need more?
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Don't be surprised this week to see other jewelry store owners shopping at Genesis Diamonds. They'll be taking advantage of Genesis' most aggressive offer ever. All GIA diamond engagement rings marked down an extra 20% below Genesis' everyday price.
That's right. The vault is open, and we're selling the finest handcrafted diamond rings at rock bottom prices. Now for a very limited time.
The GIA is the world standard in diamond grading, certifying accuracy and documenting quality, so you can buy with confidence.
Every Genesis engagement ring is included in this event, from a half carat up to 20 carat stones.
All shapes, rounds, ovals, radiants, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts. There has never been a better time to get an extreme value price on a GIA certified diamond, perfectly set in a gorgeous engagement ring. Hurry in for best selection. It's Genesis Diamonds GIA Diamond Extravaganza.
Save an extra 20% on these rare, precious diamond rings, now for a limited time. One per customer, please.
Exclusively at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
The Nashville Sheriff wants to pay you $55,700 a year. Now hiring correctional officers. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or a GED. Come, join our family and earn $55,700 after paid training and probation. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Hi, I'm Chase McCabe with your PBR Minute. The PBR Team Series Nashville Stampede Days returns to Nashville August 18th through the 20th at Bridgestone Arena. You can get your tickets at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.com. And while it hasn't been the start of the season at 0-5 that head coach Justin McBride is looking for, one bright spot is a newcomer, three-time champion Silvano Alves, who has shown out to this point.
Well, I've been really impressed in the fact that he knows, most of the starters are out with injury. He's really the only starter that's healthy enough to compete right now, and he hasn't given up on that. He hasn't said, I'm just riding with a bunch of young guys right now. I'm just going to mail it in till my guys get back. He's going out there, he's competing, he's trying to make the other guys better.
Again, the PBR Nashville Stampede Days coming to Nashville at Bridgestone Arena August 18th through the 20th. Just get your tickets now at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.com.
Every piece of land has a story. The Upshaw's right there is with a John Deere 1 Series tractor they call Penny.
When your project comes up, you have to just jump in and figure out what is it going to take.
From front loader to backhoe, the Upshaws have the tools to DIY all day long. Run with us on a 1 Series tractor and start telling your story. Get $1,000 off a 1025R tractor and 0% APR fixed rate for 60 months. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Talking about one of the best receivers in the league. I don't care what anybody says about his age, whatever. He is still one of the best receivers in the league. Clearly the best on this team. So let's look at it that way. And it is different because you don't have that guy as much, even though Traylon Burks is developing into that, you don't have that guy that you feel is open even when they're covered. So it is definitely different. I think having him out here, and I wrote about this actually, it posted today, and you look at that 2020 team, right? You had A.J. Brown, 1,000+ yards. You had Corey Davis, 986, right? Or 984, 16 yards short. You had Derrick Henry, 2,000 yards, over 2,000, 2,025 to be exact. 16 yards short of being only the third team to ever have two 1,000-yard rushers and a 1,000-yard receivers and a 2,000-yard rusher, right? Now, I'm not saying this team will do that, but this is the most balanced that they've had since that point. Whereas you have, I think Burks is fully capable of a 1K receiving season. We know what Hopkins could do. I'm not saying that Henry will have 2,000, but I think he's very capable of 15. So now that's a nice balance that you have there.
There you go. That was TD on the TD Power Hour yesterday on Stillman and Company. And look, I see it. D-Hop could be the difference for this offense because we saw D-Hop when he was on the field, and then when D-Hop wasn't at practice, the offense looked considerably different. The offense struggled. I do think that Treylon Burks can take a big step forward this season. What I've seen in camp so far, and when we sat down with him at training camp, like it feels different. It feels like what Treylon Burks has to offer this year is so much more than what he was able to offer this past season if he can stay healthy. So all of those things, like and Derrick Henry, TD mentions, he could have a 1,500-yard season. I don't think that's far outside of the realm of possibility in the slightest. But all of those things come with an asterisk. All of those things kind of come with a condition. And that's, can the offensive line block? Can they create holes for Derrick Henry? Can the offensive line protect Tannehill so he can go through his progressions and get the ball to DeAndre Hopkins and Treylon Burks? That's my biggest concern.
I would say for sure. What you try to do, first of all, in checking in with other camps. Let's take the Jets for example, that are in the spotlight for Hard Knocks. What's their big concern? Offensive line.
Offensive line, yeah.
So there's a lot of teams that get into this, but every team has strong suits and weak suits. That's how it is in the salary cap. And you're trying to overcome your weaknesses. You're trying to mask your weaknesses. So is this offense good enough to mask, let's hope, an average offensive line? It's hard to mask. With their personnel, it will be hard to overcome a bad offensive line. Like, they don't have Aaron Rodgers. They don't have Brett Favre in the heyday. A quarterback who can elevate over that.
Right.
DeAndre Hopkins will help. Derrick Henry will help. But they're at the stage of their career where it's a lot to ask for them to overcome a bad offensive line. Same thing with Tannehill. He's a Tier 3, solid Tier 3 quarterback. Maybe he can play Tier 2 if he's got good pieces around him. So the offensive line is so huge. But, we've got to wait and see. It's going to take some time. That's why going back to your topic at the beginning of the show, Carolina, is important. I think even if Tannehill let's say he doesn't play at all, I think the starting offensive line needs to play some. You've got to risk some things. They need to develop that chemistry. It's going to take some time. They need reps. They need game situations. I think that is what I would hope to see the most. I'm really not that worried. I'd like to see Tannehill get in there for a couple series, get the rhythm with those guys. But if they choose not to do it for the reasons you said, Derek, I'm okay with that. But the offensive line does need to play for this offense to gel and be the best it can be.
Well, the offensive line need to play every game in this preseason. Those five guys need to play together. It's not like they have this immense depth at the offensive line position. So, to me, those five guys need to be playing at least 6 quarters together in preseason. So,
I'd even take 8.
You take 8. I'll
Throw
take
them
8
out
too.
there. Yeah.
But at least 6. So we're talking 2 per game in the preseason, and then you have your your scrimmages with Minnesota and New England. So that would be considered, another sort of game as well. But they need to be out there as much as possible. And I don't know if, I just don't know if I really trust the offensive line at this point to, put my starting quarterback behind them in a game, like in a game type situation where they don't have to pull up, and not hit the quarterback. They can run straight through the quarterback legally right now. So I don't know if I want to subject my starting quarterback to that necessarily.
You're going to have to at some point.
Yeah, I would do it, but I have to. It's like one of those things where it's like a car, airplane or something. Like, listen, we've put this car together. I'm just not going to now throw humans in the car, like real live humans. I'm going to put test dummies.
Test dummies?
Yeah, and I'm going to run it into the wall 100 times until I make sure
Malik Willis
it's
is
right.
your test dummy.
Exactly, Malik.
Do you slow it down and do it super slow motion? Those are always fun to see the dummies flying around in there.
So Malik Willis and Will Levis are my test dummies. I am not throwing a real live human being, meaning Ryan Tannehill, behind the wheel of a car that I don't know if it's going to hold up or not.
Did they ever try the bullet with one of those tests? Run the bullet?
Bullet would have ran through it, man.
The bullet's too strong.
They're just built different.
But I wouldn't do that. But again, if they did, I would sort of understand it. But I would be crossing my fingers and hoping that, okay, let's just get through a series and get them out of there. Allow the offensive line to stay in. I heard. I was listening to Get Up this morning as I was getting up. Get that? Get
That's
up.
the idea, I guess.
Hence the name.
Absolutely. And they were talking about what Willie brought up, the New York Jets, and them needing an offensive line and their troubles. They seem like they got everything put together except the offensive line. Who does that remind you of? Tennessee Titans. Seems like they now have some things put together, but the offensive line is still an unknown. And they were saying, well, should the Jets, make a move to try to get Zach Martin? Now, I know the Tennessee Titans have the left guard situation. They believe they have their guy in Skoronski. But would it be beneficial, would it be smart to kick the tires on a Zach Martin? Because now, if that's the case, now I have, if I can pull it off, I got a guy, he's 31, 32 years old, a guard, but I have a Pro Bowl, all-pro guard on my right side. And now I have the middle of my line solidified with my center and my two guards. This is the anchor of my offensive line. Now I can give help to one of these tackles if they need it. Maybe that's a situation the Titans look at. It may cost too much for them in regards to giving up picks or eventually having to pay him, because that's why he's sitting out right now from the Cowboys, because they don't want to pay him, or they don't want to pay him the money he thinks he believes he deserves. So, I wonder if the Titans should kick the tires on bringing in Zach Martin and what it would cost, draft pick wise, and obviously a new contract. Because right now they're not paying anybody on the offensive line. They're not.
No.
The offensive line, basically, it's a bunch of guys that they're basically on bargain contracts.
You've got a budget.
Exactly. A budget. You got a budgeted
you got young guys
line
that you hope to reinvest in,
Exactly.
and you've got some free agent bargain basket guys who you took from other teams that had a surplus, that strong rosters.
So they're not spending money on the offensive line at all.
And that's what they had to do when you're paying your tailback, your safety. You've been through it. Like, most teams don't allocate that much money to their safety and their tailback, to name a few. But this is how you try to make up for it. So I understand what they're trying to do. And that's how the salary cap works. You have to find a way to get some mileage from inexpensive players.
But when they had their best offensive line, they were paying their left tackle, they were paying their center, they was paying their guard. They had their line, the money they were paying their offensive line, it showed on the field because they were a very good offensive line.
For the most part, and
right
this
now,
isn't a blanket statement, you get what you pay for in the NFL.
And that's what I'm saying. They are getting, as we see now, we can get better, but they are getting what they pay for. Skoronski is a little bit different because he's a rookie and you pay him on a rookie contract. But everybody else,
you invested very high. You invested a first-round pick in him, which is just as good as currency in the NFL. So let's continue the conversation coming up next, because the offensive line concerns, they are real. I think that's the story of camp is, can this offensive line protect Ryan Tannehill? Is this offensive line holding back the offense from what it can be? Like we heard TD earlier in that clip, what D-Hop does for the offense. He's like a spark plug in this offense, what Treylon Burks can be, what Derrick Henry can be this season. I think that the Titans should play Ryan Tannehill, at least for a couple of series in the preseason game. But let's weigh the pros and cons, the risk versus reward of playing Ryan Tannehill tomorrow against the Chicago Bears. We'll get into that coming up next, and I see your texts. We'll get into those as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet.
Ryan Tannehill.
To the end zone, touchdown.
Derrick Henry.
76-yard touchdown.
Kevin Byard.
And as he throws, and it's intercepted.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, wow, what a catch.
The Titans are ready for another season as training camp is underway.
Go to your position. Let's go.
Who will win the camp battles? How are the new additions fitting in? Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The Electronic Express Summer Clearance event has been extended. Get instant savings in every department, including all appliances, laptops and tablets, smart home, gaming consoles, Bluetooth speakers, and more. At Electronic Express, we have up to 50% off all your home theater needs, including 4K TVs, sound bars, and more. In stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 60 months special financing. Shop the Summer Clearance event at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
This week's Nashville's best deal is CBD American Shaman. Step into one of the CBD American Shaman's retail stores and sample various CBD products while a CBD consultant is there to answer any of your questions. They select top-grade hemp plants grown on agriculturally responsible farms right here in the USA and bring worldwide wellness through ultra-concentrated CBD oil. They even have CBD treatments for your pets. Get half off a $30 gift card right now to their Goodlettsville or Hendersonville location at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is Penny Hardaway, University of Memphis coach. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Are you worried about the offensive line?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the left side is solidified. The left side, from left tackle to center. Now, he's strung together some solid practices. And then you look at left guard. I know, Jared, you feel it's crazy to draft a guard at 11, but you have to look at the way they want this pocket to be protected. They want it inside out. Mm-hmm. And I get, outside rushers are important. Tackles are important. But I think as a tackle, and I've seen Dillard do it multiple times, if you could just wash that guy down, if there's an opportunity to step up in the pocket, that's all a quarterback wants.
Sure.
They're more concerned with that pocket being pushed back into their face than a guy coming from the outside and getting them, And I think if you have that opportunity to step up and that allows you to get into a throw, and you don't have to worry about your hand punching somebody's helmet, that's getting driven back. So I think the guard Skoronski, he's right where he needs to be at guard. Brunskill, it's a little tough. You're going against Simmons every rep, and we're talking about elite. But the one concern is definitely right tackle. It's absolutely right tackle. And it's one of those things where, okay, they're fortunate that this is a side like Tannehill's a right-handed quarterback, so he could see that coming and get the heck out of there. But guess what? That's all the more important reason why you want that pocket to be protected from the inside out, because those rushers are going to come and he needs to be able to step up.
That was TD on the TD Power Hour yesterday on Stillman and Company. Caroline Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. So, and I'm one of those people. I want to see Peter Skoronski at tackle. He's your first-round pick. He played tackle at Northwestern for the entirety of his career. But where it stands right now with the line, put him wherever you need to protect Ryan Tannehill. You know, put him at tight end if you have to, just to protect Ryan Tannehill. But like TD said, and if TD is concerned about it, that's even more concerning to me. The right side's a concern.
TD tends to be glass half full, which I tend to be. And, hey, we're both Mets fans. You kind of have to be like that. But so if he's concerned, I take note. I do take note if he's seeing some concern there. But I am one that, A, does think Skoronski, put him in a position to succeed. If that's guard, that's where you want to start him, I say keep him there. Don't yo-yo him around. I think that leads to other problems. So I see what TD is pointing out there. If you have one side that you feel good about, that's a start. Because this is my big thing. What are the expectations for the offensive line? We want the offensive line to be good. But if your bar is last year's offensive line, which was a disaster, the bar isn't that high. Like, I feel like they can be better than last year's offensive line. That's not asking that much.
It's really, the bar's on the floor.
You've got the curveball where you got to figure something out for 6 games for right tackle. I'm envisioning 2 things. Can I survive at right tackle for 6 games? And then what does my offensive line look like in the second half of the season? Can I envision an offensive line that's quite a bit better than last year's? I think you can. Think about the disaster that was last year. That was a disaster. Ben Jones, multiple concussions. Taylor Lewan gone after the second game. A rookie right tackle that was trying to hang in there, and to his credit, he stayed out there.
275-pound guard.
Yeah. You had a very undersized left guard that I think they determined is not best used in that spot, right? That's why he's the center now. So I think optimistically, you got a chance to have a better offensive line. It's not going to be confused with the Hogs from John Riggins' days, right? It's not going to be confused with Emmitt Smith's guys from the Cowboys in the early 90s, but could they be satisfactory? I think that's the reasonable expectation.
Well, they're going to have to be in order for this team to have success because we believe that, they've done enough to stay competitive in the AFC South. They've given themselves, a chance to win the AFC South because of some of the moves they made, going out and getting D-Hop, signing Chris Moore, getting guys on defense. So we believe that they still have an opportunity to win the South. But if this offensive line isn't better, then and it needs to be more than just 10, let's just put it in percentages. It needs to be more than like 10% or 20% better. It needs to be like 50 or 60% better.
10% better still isn't cutting.
It's not going to cut it.
That
this
was
team,
a bad line.
We need to see a significant difference in what this offensive line looks like. And I think part of it will be how Tim Kelly designs this offense. What is he looking to do? Is it going to be more of a quick passing game? Are they going to allow Ryan Tannehill to be more of the play caller, because for the last 2 years, I believe Ben Jones was that guy pointing out everything and making sure everybody was doing what they were supposed to be doing in calling out protections. Will they allow Ryan Tannehill to do that more now because they have a new center, an undersized center? So will they leave those responsibilities to Ryan Tannehill? If that is indeed the case, well, this offensive line is going to have to figure it out very quickly because if they don't, I promise you, this will be the demise of their season, and they will continue to have injury over injury if this offensive line doesn't step up.
And Willie asked a fair question. What are the expectations for this line? I don't need you to be the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line of this past season. I need you to protect Ryan Tannehill and create holes for Derrick Henry. That's all I'm asking. And that might be a whole lot, more easier said than done as far as this line is concerned, but that's all I need.
I'm asking you to do your damn job.
Do your job.
That's all
I'm asking.
That's what your job
is protect the quarterback.
Do your job, protect the quarterback. If you can't do your job, this business state that we can find somebody else, or we're going to find somebody else. So just go out there and do your job. That's all, because I believe all these guys have the ability to play in this league and play at a level that's going to keep them here. Well, go out and do your job. That's all we ask of you. Don't try to do nobody else's job. Don't try to do more than what we're asking you to do. If I ask you to play tackle, you play tackle. Don't be trying to, tell the right guard what to do and all other. Play your position and trust that everybody else is going to do their job.
And this line, the concerns, very fair concerns of the offensive line are the root of the reason why, D-Mace, you don't want to see Ryan Tannehill out there in the preseason games. The risk of injury is high, but also risk of injury is there all the time. Like we saw Joe Burrow tear a calf muscle just rolling out of the pocket, just running on the field, no contact whatsoever. The reward of playing Ryan Tannehill. Go look at it, just game reps, knocking some rust off, maybe building a little bit more rapport with the line. Now, it brings up the question of if you play Ryan Tannehill, are you playing D-Hop? Are you playing Derrick Henry? So risk versus reward for playing Ryan Tannehill. The risk is always going to be there with injury. Just from my perspective, why I want to see Ryan Tannehill just for a little bit, just for a few series. I think the reward of playing Ryan Tannehill, of just getting reacclimated into a game setting, of furthering the understanding of the offense, building that rapport, might outweigh the possible risk of injury, because the risk is always going to be there.
Yeah, it's going to be there, but I don't want to, I don't want to have to take that risk. I don't think as a organization, I don't think I need to take that risk with my quarterback. I don't need my quarterback to be on the field to get a good look at what my offensive line looks like. I can do that with my backup quarterback. I can do that with Willis or Levis. Find out how good this offensive this offensive line is. I don't need Ryan Tannehill to be in there for me to determine, okay, the offensive line is doing a good job. Okay, let's go. No.
And it's not just about the line.
Take my quarterback out. Put somebody else, insert whoever you want to. Let that offensive line do their job. Let them block. If I see that in this first game that, okay, they're picking this up, then I may think the next go around to put my quarterback in, because eventually I'm going to have to play him. I want to play him, not have to. I would want to play him a little bit in preseason. But I need to know, are these guys going to be able to hold up when those lights come on and it's for real? So let me pull him back for this first preseason game. Let me see how these guys do. If they make any mistakes, we're going to correct them in the film room the next day. But then we got practices coming up with other teams. So by the second game, I should know or should feel confident enough on whether I need to put my quarterback in there or not.
Can you mitigate it some with the plays you call? If you want
it has to be a lot of runs.
If you wanted to play
quick.
them a series or two.
Quick pass.
Yeah. Get rid of it quick. You're not having a 5 or 7 step drop, even if it's 3rd and 8. I think that's what you would do. But I do think there's a lot. Look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here on Monday and say, why didn't they play the guys?
Right.
It's not that big of a thing in the big picture. I just would prefer that you get in there, you get a little rhythm, you go through the game. It's like in spring training for baseball. You don't throw your starting pitcher out there the first outing for 9 innings, but you get him a couple innings and you build. So I'm okay with a build if that's what I would prefer. I don't think the injury risk is that big if you're playing just a series or two. And you got a lot of new pieces. You got a new offensive coordinator. So I think it's worth it to put him in there a little bit. But I see hold back a game if you're going to then play him a little bit in the second game. And then maybe you then decide probably not to play him in the third game. But somewhere in there, I think getting a little bit of work in both games would be good.
And I do think it's also one thing in the Titans' favor. On Saturday against Chicago, you're not going up against Myles Garrett. You're not going up against one of the top defenses in the league. 615.
They weren't so good last year.
They were not very good at all last year. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Let's get your thoughts on this coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mays, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national Hey.
I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff.
It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
Hear that? That's Jeff Anderson. He's that guy in your neighborhood that's always making improvements to his house, his car, his yard. On your street, it's about keeping up with the Andersons. One thing you don't know is Jeff's tools are from Harbor Freight. Tools at great prices. That circular saw right there, you wouldn't believe the deal he got. Just think, when you're keeping up with the Andersons, you're saving money. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Caroline Fenton here for our friends over at Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use the promo code Caroline, Caroline, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with promo code Caroline. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP? And which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Simply download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football with $250 first bet bonus and the Caroline promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. So visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Oh, Charlie's, that's where you'll find me. That southern flavor got me saying, hey, y'all. And ooh, that gooey caramel pie tastes like summertime at Old Charlie's.
The sweet, sweet sounds of this song are in honor of the sweet, sweet news that free Pie Wednesdays are back at O'Charlie's. O'Charlie's. Oh, that's good.
Yum, yum, have some fun. O'Charlie's, born in Nashville, and it shows.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. Are you looking for a luxury home on over an acre, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, and close to 7,000 square feet? 6551 Brownlee Drive in Nashville's Westmead neighborhood offers that and a 4th car garage, all by an award-winning builder. Text the number 1 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home on the radio? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
B&B Flooring has a goal to bring your dream floor to you. Over 30 years running and locally owned and operated, B&B Flooring's full-service commercial and residential team will handle anything from tile, luxury vinyl, carpet, hardwood, rubber, and all commercial products. Make your flooring selection today and visit their showroom at 2204 Northwest Broad Street in Murfreesboro, or check them out at bnbflooring.com. Come celebrate B&B Flooring's official grand opening party Saturday, August 19th at their Murfreesboro location. There will be prizes, ticket giveaways, and much more.
They're homegrown in Nashville, discussing the biggest topics in the SEC.
The fans are going to want the rivalries to stick around. They've lost to Alabama every year.
The NFL.
What if all the top 3 quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3? You've got to draft your guy at 2.
And anything in between.
From thinking we know everything to then forgetting about everything we thought we knew the day before.
They're Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on Outkick's Hot Mic.
Out of the gates, ready to go.
Weekdays from 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app. This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
About playing Ryan Tannehill.
My gut tells me that we're going to have a staff meeting after this, and we'll talk about what we're going to do going forward.
There were those Terrell Williams at the podium yesterday. I admire Paul Kaharski's try to get a little something out of Terrell Williams, but the beginner's luck.
Hey,
held it back.
You don't know if you don't try, huh?
Exactly.
Yep. And the guy hasn't been through it before. He's got to get used to
I could throw him a curveball or something. He's
got to learn how to answer those questions if he's going to be a head coach.
Exactly. He did a good job.
He did a good job.
And by the way, I have not weighed in on it, but really cool thing that Mike Vrabel is doing. You develop coaches just like you develop players, right?
Exactly.
Why not in a preseason? do this. So I think that's really cool. It gives you another reason to watch the game, to see how it goes. And I think from Mike Vrabel's standpoint, he can still do what he needs to do to get ready for the season. So great idea. I'll bet you this. A lot of other teams will start doing this.
I would agree.
And Mike Vrabel will be the first.
I would agree. And I was just so impressed by him yesterday. And not that I expected anything different. I just didn't know what to expect. I didn't. Before this past week, I didn't really know much about Terrell Williams. I knew he was a good coach, but him as the person, I didn't really know much about him. Really impressed by what I heard from Terrell Williams yesterday at the podium. We've got some thoughts in our text line. So unless we have thoughts,
let's go.
Let's get to the phones. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have a thought, our dear old friend,
Indy Ben.
How did I know? How did I know? Some things don't change. I was gone for 8 straight shows. Indy Ben's still
Indy Ben is still here.
Ben is still trucking
I'm glad
along.
he's still here.
I would have taken that to the bank.
Yeah, take it to the bank. Indy Ben will be listening. He texts in, says, after watching the Colts change a few starters on the offensive line last offseason, resulting in some early season struggles, I can tell you that it will take some time for the Titans' new offensive line to work as a cohesive unit. Right now, Skoronski might be the only guy I'd be sold on. I don't agree with Indy Ben very frequently. I do agree with that.
I don't know if I can, any one of them. Seriously. Does he say that about Skoronski because he was the first pick? You know, he was their first-round pick. But other than being in their first-round pick, he hasn't shown anything either, like in when the lights come on, when it means something. I'm not saying he's not, like, a good player. I'm not saying that. But, you know, I'm not going to feel confident in any one of these guys, really, because we have not seen these guys play together, all 5 of them play together, against someone that is not their teammate. And this offensive line has a lot to prove, you know, going into this this regular season, especially going into this first preseason game. Everybody's going to be watching it.
And I'm sure you guys have analyzed this backwards and forwards, but this is what we don't know. But you take the biggest question mark position group and you put them up against the strongest position group every day. What does that look like? And we know it has looked like we kind of thought it would look like. But what will that mean what will that do for the offensive line when they actually start going against other guys? How much can that help them improve? How much is that making them look worse than maybe they actually are, going up against Jeffrey Simmons and T.R. Tar? I mean, that's a great test. It's an opportunity to get better faster. They're all saying that. We won't know what that means yet, but I am curious about that. It's because you always ask the question, well, if there's a good play by the offense, was that really the offense or just bad defense? Yeah, I mean, that's the classic question we ask every August, right?
Exactly. I think that is one thing that I always have to keep in mind is, you know, it's not the easiest learning curve when you're going up against Jeffrey Simmons. But again, it's not going to be the only Jeffrey Simmons kind of player that you face all season long.
But it hopefully makes you better, right? It's the old thing about, let's just take travel baseball, which I have a lot of experience in over the last, 7, 8, 9 years. You can take your team to a travel tournament at one level and dominate. Right, and you can find tournaments where if you want to take your team, you assess your level, and you want to go in there and win a bunch, you can schedule your way into a lot of wins. But then you can also take a team that's the same group of guys, play them in other tournaments, and get your tail beat a bunch. But there's a happy median that you're trying to strive for, in my opinion, to try to get the best. You know, you don't get better if you're just beating up on inferior competition. You might lose a bunch, but it might be the best thing for your team to learn how to get better and start achieving against higher level competition. So that's what's happening here, right? You got this new group of offensive linemen going up against a very strong position group. I'm hoping that speeds up the process of gelling and doing what they need to do to be the best they can be. That's what I'm sure that they're trying to subscribe to every day. If I'm the offensive line coach, I'm like, hey, man, you did a pretty good job there against Simmons and those guys. Okay, that's good. Or, hey, you're not going to win every battle against that guy. That guy's the one of the 2 or 3 best in the game at his position. If you can survive there, it's going to make you stronger.
Well, yeah, and it's up to at least in practice.
Yeah.
It's up to if this offensive line is going to get better, obviously they have to do the necessary things that are going to contribute to that. But I think it's on the defensive line as well. If I'm Terrell Williams and we go into those meeting rooms, I'm like, listen, Braves, I'm going to put as much pressure as I possibly can on this offensive line, because it's not like we have a shabby or makeshift defensive line. We have one of the best in the National Football League. I don't know if they're going to go up against a front seven like ours. So every day, and I'm sure this is what Vrabel's saying, take it to them. Pin your ears back. Go at him every play. I want to see how this offensive line is going to react.
Don't hold back.
Exactly. Don't hold back. So I think it's up. It's sort of this team concept thing. Team concept that Vrabel preaches. We're going to help one another get better. Iron sharpens iron. Well, if that is indeed the case, then I'm going to make sure the defensive line that I have, which is one of the best in the NFL, we're not taking plays off against our offensive line. We're going to try to embarrass you, because in doing that, we hope that it's making you better.
And one kind of scary side of that, too, to kind of flip the coin a little bit. I believe that this is going to be one of the top defenses in the National Football League because of that front seven. But what if it's really not as good as we expect, just simply because they're going up against this offensive line that we think is
That's
so bad?
trouble all the way around, then. That is trouble all the way around.
And you know that Jeffrey Simmons is a sure thing. And I love what I have seen from and heard from Arden Key and Azeez Al-Shaair. Like, I'm very encouraged about this defensive line. But they're not challenged too much in practice.
Not with this
Right.
offensive line.
But I think we know that other than Key, it's a pretty well-known quantity what you're getting from that group. These aren't new guys.
Right.
Now, the unknowns are Key. The unknown is what are you getting from Landry. But I still think if it's Simmons,
You still got Danico
Autry,
Autry.
Tart, I think is a known quantity now. I think
Yeah.
he's a really good player. Weaver is a little bit more of a known quantity now. I mean, there's guys. Like, I know what that looks like.
And then the Gibbons, Monty Rice inside linebacker
Yeah.
competition.
That's
Question
new.
mark.
Yeah, that's new.
But your core is still the same, and it's still just as solid as it was last year. Indy Ben also continues to say, are we sure that the Titans' offensive line will be better this season? They arguably got worse at right guard, right tackle, and center, as Ben Jones was a solid rock there. Also, Dillard is also far from a sure thing, but he could end up being better than that turnstile Daly.
I mean,
If he's not better than Daly,
we got problems.
we got
yeah.
serious
That's
problems.
that's an issue.
Well, yeah, right. We don't know how good or how bad this offensive line is going to be or is or will ultimately be. We just hope that with new faces, new offensive coordinator, new offensive line coach, that they're going to put this offensive line in a position to succeed. That's why I do believe Tim Kelly is everything's going to be quick, passing, trying to get the ball in the hands of the receivers, or giving the ball to Derrick Henry, because you want to lessen, what you want to lessen the effects that the offensive line have on a game, meaning bad, in regards to them not being as good. So you want to try to help them out as much as possible and allow them to sort of get into a rhythm and learn as they go.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Now, we cannot project the full 53-man roster quite yet. It's too early. It's not fair. But we can announce our locks, and we will do that coming up next. Our official roster locks for the 2023 season. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Let's see. That one. Wait, I didn't see this one.
We apologize. When you have as many microbrews on tap as we do, we know it can be hard to make a decision. Don't worry. We're patient.
Wow. Let me see here.
Bar lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Incredible apps and salads, delectable burgers and wraps featuring local Tennessee whiskey and local brews on tap and live music 7 days a week. The decision is obvious. Bar lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
It is red hot in Music City.
On Wednesday, August 16th.
My God, listen to that.
AEW Dynamite and Rampage invade the Bridgestone Arena for a massive night of elite professional wrestling action in Nashville.
We have got a red hot show in store for you tonight.
Don't miss the AEW World Champion MJF.
I'm better than you.
Chris Jericho in the JAS.
I am the Wizard. I am the Ocho. I am Chris Jericho.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Dr. Britt Baker. John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, Chris Statlander, The Acclaim.
Everyone, love!
The Outcasts, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, Adam Cole. Wardlow, Swerve, Hangman Page, Hook, Darby Allin, Sting.
This is Sting!
Nashville's own Jeff and Karen Jarrett, and all your favorite stars will be in action live.
Well, that's you!
Don't miss AEW's only Nashville appearance this year at the Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now. Go to AEWTix.com. Cards subject to change.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. The Tennessee Titans take the field tomorrow in their first preseason game on the road versus the Chicago Bears. The big conversation today is if Ryan Tannehill will be playing tomorrow. Yesterday, Mike Vrabel spoke with the media and said they know who they will start. Here was Joe Rexrode earlier today on if Ryan Tannehill should play in the preseason.
No, I don't. First of all, I don't trust the offensive line right now. I mean, like I know. In fact, I think I saw something in the text line today. It was like, well, okay, well, if you're worried about that, why like a month from now is going to be any different?
Tune in later this evening as they take the diamond again versus the Indianapolis Indians and look to extend their 3-game winning streak to 4 games. You can listen to the game on 94.9 The Fan. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 1063.
79-52 Vanderbilt.
And I think he's going to coach
Shot by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves. The Game.
a Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willie, D-Base, 1025, 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. And hey, we are your racing station. 1025 and 1063 The Game is Nashville's home for NASCAR. So tune in tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the Pennzoil 150 and on Sunday at 12:30 p.m. for the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard. NASCAR on 1025 and 1063 The Game is presented by O'Charlie's. We've got Ask D-Mace in 30 minutes, so get those questions in for D-Mace. We'll take your texts and your calls. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. But it is now time, since we are now officially 24 hours away from the Tennessee Titans' first preseason game of the season.
A rare noon game, right?
That's
how many
what I was
preseason
saying.
games do you see at noon these days?
Not
Remember
many.
you guys
Not
played
many.
at Vanderbilt Stadium in the day one time, and it was old school AstroTurf.
Oh, my goodness. It was
ouch.
awful.
1997, but they made a deal. This is a great story. They made a deal. You guys had played in Memphis the year before.
Mm-hmm.
They made a deal with Vanderbilt. Okay, look, we can't play in Memphis again. This is ridiculous. Sending you guys over there. It's a road game, even for a home game. You're
It's a road
busting
game
everybody.
every
Everybody's
game.
families is living in Nashville. So we got to play at Vanderbilt. So they make a deal with Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, Todd Turner, the athletic director, the neighbors, like the people who lived in the neighborhood around the stadium, said, we don't want night games. I don't understand why. What the big deal was, like they were holding out. Well, we don't want the. So they kind of drove a hard bargain, but part of the deal was you had to play the preseason games during the day.
It's awful.
You guys played a game. It had to be 95 degrees, and it was on that turf. It was
That
brutal.
just radiates
The fans were like, "Why are we here? This is ridiculous." Ron Paulus was playing for the
Oh, my
Oilers,
goodness.
the old Notre Dame quarterback who was
Yes.
supposed to be the most hyped up guy. He was supposed to win multiple Heisman.
You're supposed to win
and
like
everything.
4 Heisman trophies.
Couldn't throw a spiral.
Nope.
But I remember D-Mace was out there. That was tough.
It was.
They played
brutal.
Washington.
It was
I think.
brutal. Yeah, it was brutal. I don't wish that on nobody.
Yeah. So August, I guess in Chicago, maybe it's not that bad.
Right
but
on the water.
Yeah. Is there a
little bit of a
TV
breeze.
angle for it? But almost everybody plays their preseason games at night.
That's what I thought. But after the Titans play, it's the Panthers and Jets. So I think that's like maybe the better time slot to see Bryce Young, 3 o'clock kick. I don't know.
Yeah.
But even in the preseason, the Titans and noon, just, they go together like
I
peanut
guess
butter
so.
and jelly. Got to get used to the noon games. Let's get into it. Our roster locks for the season, 24 hours away from the Titans playing. Am I crazy to say all 3 quarterbacks are locks?
No, you're not. I believe if it continues to go the way it has been going in practice, both guys are showing that they're making progress just about every day. Now they're going to have their bad days, as Levis had a bad day, I believe, a little bit yesterday. Ryan Tannehill did as well. I think Malik Willis was on par from what he was doing, but I think as long as these quarterbacks continue to show progress, Willis and Levis, I think you got to keep both of them because you're thinking about the future in regards to the position, and Ryan may not be here next year. So
It's probably more likely than not.
So
that
you draft a
that
guy in the
isn't.
third round, you draft a guy in the second round. If they're improving, then you keep them.
You guys believe? Think about how crazy this would have sounded in March. That Malik Willis is a lock before the first preseason game. You guys are ready to go that far?
Yeah.
A lock.
A lock.
Yeah, because I can't see him. I would be like flabbergasted if he goes out in preseason and looks nothing like he has looked thus far in camp.
He's looked pretty solid so far.
He's looked solid. If he turns back into the old Malik Willis when games start, that would.
So
be
that means he's not a lock.
Yeah, if he.
So you can't see. That's why I say it seems.
But
like
I'm
it's
saying
trending
like
in their
right
position.
now.
To say right now,
Yeah.
a lock. That means no matter what happens from here, he still makes the team. So
Maybe
that's my
he isn't.
definition of a lock. Is that I don't care how
lock
bad
it to
you
somebody
screw up.
unlock it. See, there you go.
Somebody finds the key. I guess
Exactly.
he's got a spare key out there.
He could find the key.
Yeah.
He may give
or
them
somebody
the key.
knows how to jimmy the.
But
the
I
lock.
think this would have been a different conversation had the NFL not changed the 3
Change the
quarterback
rule.
rule.
Yes.
No
if
question.
you can carry 3, why not keep 3?
But there's still going to be that game that's played and on the last day that we always watch, Labor Day weekend or whatever. Okay, what about this? There's a guy that just got released over here. We could use him at this position. Where do we find room for him? You don't think that still is going to be a discussion somewhere in here?
I'm sure it will
especially if
be.
he struggles. So I'm saying he's not a lock. I would love to see them keep him. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great to try to develop 2 different guys if you can do it. So I want to see him make it, but I just feel like I see that gravitational pull every year of we got to have an extra lineman or wherever that is.
Fair.
So I'm going to say not a lock.
Fair. I'm still going lock.
You're still going lock.
I'm
Yeah,
still
okay.
going to go
Lock.
lock just because of that 3 quarterback rule. And also, I really do think the Titans want or view Will Levis as the future franchise quarterback for this organization. Knock on wood, Ryan Tannehill goes down in the second game of the season. Do you want to throw Will Levis out there? What if he's not ready? What if he's not coming along how he needs to be? I mean, I think that he is. I think that he's showed a lot of progress so far in camp. But I think you want to leave yourself just a little bit of wiggle room there. And you can always pick up another 3rd quarterback along the way.
That's the other unknown is if you cut Willis, what happens to him? Does somebody snap him up, sign him, lock him in on the roster, or does he go into that group of quarterbacks that are floating around that you could theoretically get back? They're having guys that they cut thinking, well, we'll just put them on the practice squad, and then they were gone.
When Jim Wyatt put out a mailbag, this was, I guess, about a month ago before camp started, somebody sent in a question about Malik Willis. And Jim Wyatt wrote, Ryan Tannehill, obviously, starting quarterback, he's a lock. Will Levis, 2nd-round pick, he's a lock. He said that, Malik Willis isn't at the time a lock to make the roster. He's going to have to prove himself. And that spread like absolute wildfire. There were articles coming out from Seattle, Washington, Baltimore, should our team sign Malik Willis? Would Malik Willis be a fit for this team? And I know that those are just, probably July conversations, and some of them were fan blogs. But still, if you put him on the practice squad, there's gonna be a GM or a head coach somewhere in the NFL,
especially if he's playing well.
Yeah.
If
exactly,
he plays well. Yeah.
Exactly, because he's looked good so far
Yes.
in camp, better than he was last year. He still holds on to the football too long, but I like the progress that I've seen from Malik Willis. I'm gonna say all three are a lock, but very fair to be skeptical of that, Willie. Running backs, I'm gonna say right now only Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears. And maybe even Tajay Spears isn't a lock. Like, I don't think Hassan Haskins is a lock. Jonathan Ward definitely isn't a lock. But given all of the legal things that are hovering around Hassan Haskins, I don't think that he's a lock at all. And maybe even not Tajay Spears.
I think Henry and Spears are a lock. Hassan Haskins, he's more of it's like one of those partial locks or half locks that are kind of almost locked, but not quite locked.
You got to jiggle it, don't you?
You got to jiggle it a little bit to lock it, got to make sure it's closed. But beside that, I think they may keep 4 running backs for special teams reasons. So that's why I believe, beside Derrick Henry, Tajay, I believe, is a lock. I can't see them cutting him after drafting him in the 3rd round. If he's showing anything, he's there.
And he's looked good.
And he's looked pretty good, yeah. And Hassan Haskins, I think, because of his special teams, but the problem is the off-the-field stuff.
Yeah.
You just don't know what's going on. But I think they keep 4. I think those 3 are Derrick Henry's a lock, Spears is a lock, Hassan Haskins is, I believe, a lock, but things could change. After that, I don't know if it's going to be Jonathan Ward or Chestnut.
I like Jonathan Ward.
Yeah, so I would say the first 3, lock, almost, and then the other 2, I don't know which one of those guys are going to make it.
I've always been curious about. There's always a guy that gets carries in the second halves of these preseason games and looks good carrying the ball. We can go through the years. Like Chestnut's done it before.
Yeah.
You can go back
Training
10 years,
camp
15 years. Yeah, in the games. And the fans get all excited because they break a long one and they look really good. But I've always wondered how the coaches are evaluating that, because I've seen half the time that guy gets cut. Another half the time maybe they make it. The special teams is in there. So I think I'm just going to play it conservative. The first 2 guys are locks. I'm going to wait and see on the other guys now.
I'm waiting and seeing. Receivers. We'll get into that coming up next, because I think that is an awfully interesting position group to follow. So we'll get into our receiver locks and the rest of the roster locks coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players. I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs.
Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
312 Pizza Company is a proud sponsor of Nashville Sounds Baseball on 102.5 The Game.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-249-2509. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-249-2509 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-249-2509 to see if you qualify. That's 800-249-2509.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace. Hey, tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball today at 6:05 p.m. on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds take on the Indianapolis Indians, AAA affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. Titans football, 24 hours from now. I am ready for it. I'm ready to talk about actual football in an actual game. I know everyone is ready to hear about it, is ready to watch it, and is ready to talk about it. So let's get into it. Our roster locks for the 2023 season. Now, just a reminder, this is not our 53-man roster. This is not who is absolutely not going to make the team. It is just who is absolutely going to make the team. I think all three quarterbacks are a lock. Willie's not quite ready to go there, and we shall see as the quarterback battle unfolds in the preseason games. I think Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears are locks. Hassan Haskins, Jonathan Ward, Julius Chestnut, up in the air. Doesn't mean that they're not going to make the team. It's just up in the air. I think the receivers are very interesting. DeAndre Hopkins, Treylon Burks, Kyle Phillips, Chris Moore. Locks. Other than that, I think it's really up in the air. That leaves two. I don't think that Nick Westbrook-Akine is a lock. Not that I don't think he's going to make the team. I don't think he's a lock.
So you put Moore over NWI.
Yes.
As a lock at this point.
Yeah.
Have you seen that much from Moore, or is this based on what he's done in the league? I'm intrigued with that you say that, because I was wondering, you guys have seen more practices than I have, so we're hearing good things about Moore to the point where you say he's a lock. Because I have seen guys like that come in, new situation, and for whatever reason it's not a fit, and you move on.
I think it's a combination of both, of what he's just a veteran and what we've seen in camp, and Nick Westbrook-Akine, he's dropped a lot of balls so far in camp. He had one good day, but he's had a lot of drops. So I think he's still going to make the team. I just can't go as far as to say a lock.
Okay. I'm not gonna put Moore as a lock.
Fair?
Just because this is philosophically, I still feel like there's a lot of time left, especially now that you don't have to cut a bunch of guys after X week and Y week. You can keep everybody if you want to. So I think you should give these guys a fair shot. There's some guys that might have a slow start to camp that might come on. So I want to give them some space there. So I'm not just gonna give a guy a spot on the team. That's just Coach Willie.
He's tough.
Yeah, Coach Willie's tough, man.
Tough
Goodness.
but fair. That's me, tough but fair. I want to give the guys who might be struggling now an angle. If there's no hope, like that's just there's sometimes where you see tryouts where a coach has already made up his mind. Why are we going through the tryout if you're not giving a pathway for guys to make an impression on you?
And Chris Moore does play special teams.
Yes.
So that's an angle there, too, which is a plus.
I would go D-Hop, Traylon, Chris. Those three, I believe, are my locks.
Phillips.
Kyle Phillips I believe he is a lock. But it's just, I don't know whether to put him as a definite lock or sort of like
a soft lock.
A soft lock, yeah.
Well, a lock's a lock.
A lock is a
you
lock.
are locking it in.
Yeah. All right. I go with D-Hop, Traylon, Kyle, and Chris. Those four are my locks to make the team. The other guys, it's just a battle.
So you're also concerned about Akine?
Yeah, I'm concerned because he doesn't play special teams. He's not a big special teams guy. Now, if he played, like if he was a gunner or on the kickoff team, then I would be like, okay, he's a lock too because he serves another role, an important role for this team. But he doesn't, and I've seen this before where guys, they're good at that one position, being a receiver. I've seen guys either be good at receiver or defensive back, but they are 4th or 5th on the depth chart. But they don't play no special teams, and all of a sudden there's these younger guys that play special teams that may not be, as seasoned as you, but they end up winning a role on a team because they can do other things, and they figure, okay, once we get him in here, he'll start to pick up what we need him to pick up. That's why I'm not sold on, even though I like Nick Westbrook-Akine, I don't think he's a lock. I think anyone past Hopkins, Burks, Phillips, and Moore, they're battling. And as much as I like Nick Westbrook-Akine, because he doesn't play special teams, when you are the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th receiver, damn it, you better be playing special teams. And you better be a key guy on special teams. And right now, he's not.
And this is something that TD talked about with us as well, is when you're battling for a roster spot. He mentioned Colton Dowell. There was one day in practice, if you remember, it was Malik Willis in 7-on-7, and Malik Willis delivered just a beautiful ball to Colton Dowell. Hit Colton Dowell right in the hands, and he dropped it. TD was like, if you're vying for a roster spot, if you're trying to prove yourself, you can't afford to make blunders like that in training camp. I kind of view that the same way as Nick Westbrook-Akine. He's got more skins on the wall. He's a more veteran player than Colton Dowell, obviously. But you got to catch the balls now. Like, you're not DeAndre Hopkins. You're not Traylon Burks. You don't have those kinds of skins on the wall. So if I had to guess, these are not locks. If I had to guess where the other 2 spots are, because we have 4 of the 6 receiver spots kind of taken up, I would guess that it's most likely Nick Westbrook-Akine and Racey McMath. But still, they're going to battle. Colton Dowell, Mason Kinsey, Reggie Roberson, who's looked really good in camp, they're going to battle it out in the preseason games.
I'm encouraged that you guys think that Moore is an upgrade.
Moore's look good.
Moore is an upgrade from Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Yes.
If he's better than him, that's a good thing. That means that could be that you made a nice budget signing, bargain signing.
I think as a whole, this group has done better. They've looked. This is one of the positions that I am encouraged, like from top to bottom, because they have, McDowell, he's had some bad practices. Racey McMath, you just don't know what you're going to get out of him every other day. And Mason Kinsey, same with those guys. But from top to bottom, they have looked good. But I don't know if it's good enough at the bottom to make this team, because the Titans, mark my words, they will go out and get another receiver that can play special teams at the end of the day, that can play special teams. And the only reason I say Nick Westbrook-Akine, he's not a lot, because, like I said, I've seen this so many times. Hell, I was in the same position that Nick Westbrook-Akine was in, 3rd, 4th receiver. But I was able to stick on a team because I played special teams. I was a key cog in what we did special teams-wise. He's not a key cog in what they do special teams-wise. Right. So now you're not helping yourself, you're hurting yourself, that you don't play special teams and you're not one of their core guys. Haskins helps himself because he does play special teams, and he is one of the better special teams guy. He may be the best special teams guy they have.
Kyle Phillips, same way. Julius Chestnut,
he plays special teams.
way.
Julius Chestnut, special
There's not
teams
a place
guy.
for Julius Chestnut on this roster if he doesn't play special teams.
Exactly.
As far as the tight end position goes, I think Chig's the only lock.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And it's almost, and I struggle with it because Chig's the only lock, but also the rest of the players in the depth chart, whether it's Josh Wiley, Trevon Wesco, Elise Mack, they have to make the team because who else do you have?
Yeah,
Not
I'm
a whole
also,
lot of depth at the tight end position.
I also don't have as much of a feel for how they want to use the tight ends. Are we going to see as much two tight ends? This has been a heavy two tight end offense for a long time, but maybe that won't be the case as much this year. We'll see. But now I feel like with the right tackle situation, you might like that second tight end in there some.
Yes. I think they would be.
Which is
would
good
venture to say
for
it's a
these
two tight
guys,
end
right? And
set.
they have, what,
Right.
6 or 7 candidates, right? So there's a lot of guys vying for spots. So to me, they want to keep, like, how many are you looking for total? We know they're not locks, but what's the number? 4?
4. Probably 4.
Tight ends?
Yeah. Like on a game day, you're going to have 4 active, right? You need probably
I
need
don't
4.
know if you're going to have 4 active, honestly.
Because
it all
of the
depends on the
style
offensive
of
line.
offense?
And the
Or
special teams.
offensive
Same thing,
line
special
and,
teams. Did you get in there?
So you may only keep – because I don't believe that the Titans keep 4 tight ends just to be keeping 4 tight ends so they can sort of fill this quota or, well, we need an extra one because we may have to have him be a blocking tight end. No. I think if they don't prove they deserve to be on this team, then they're only going to keep the guys that prove they deserve to be on this team. And right now, there's only one guy, and that's Chig at the tight end position. So I'm with you. That's the only guy I believe is a lock. Now, those other guys, they have a better opportunity. Josh Wiley, who they drafted, he has a better opportunity to make the roster, but it's not a lock.
Not a lock.
Yeah.
Right. Again, these are locks. These are, you put them away in a different category. You don't touch it. Everyone else kind of battles it out. Defensively, let me venture to say,
Hold on.
Jeffrey Simmons.
So we just
is
skipped
a
the
lock.
offensive line. So we need all of those guys. All of them need to make the team.
Is anybody a lock?
Exactly.
Chris
There's
Hubbard's
nobody
a
a
lock.
lock.
That's where this offensive line is Chris Hubbard, a guy I've never even heard of before like 2 weeks ago.
I did not know Chris
is a lock.
He's
I didn't
the
know
only
Chris
lock
Hubbard
on that
from
team.
Mother Hubbard. Remember the fairy tales or whatever?
Oh, my goodness.
I made this point, too, when Jamarco Jones got kicked off the team because he couldn't keep his hands to himself, that when Jamarco Jones gets kicked off the team and that causes a big, deal with your offensive line, that is a bad sign. So, yeah, they're all making the team. They have to.
Caroline,
I'm making the team at right tackle.
If you play right tackle, yeah.
When Derek and I were doing our little techniques on the left tackle last week in between segments,
It was-
are we locks after seeing that?
At 100%. It was a master class in tackle technique, these two. It was truly efficient to see. Ask D Mace is coming up next. Get those questions in for D Mace. We're taking your texts and your calls, 615-737-1025. Ask D Mace coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
Knocked down in front, rebound, and the score!
on your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture, eat strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want. But unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Stop by Lincoln Tech's NADC Monday, August 14th through Wednesday, August 16th for their summer open house anytime between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and discover a world of opportunity for you and your future career plans. Meet with admissions, get info about career fields that interest you, take a tour of the campus, and learn about scholarships to help finance your education. Don't miss the open house at Lincoln Tech's NADC August 14th through 16th. Visit lincolntech.edu for additional info. That's lincolntech.edu.
Don't be surprised this week to see other jewelry store owners shopping at Genesis Diamonds. They'll be taking advantage of Genesis' most aggressive offer ever. All GIA diamond engagement rings marked down an extra 20% below Genesis' everyday price.
That's right. The vault is open, and we're selling the finest handcrafted diamond rings at rock bottom prices. Now for a very limited time.
The GIA is the world standard in diamond grading, certifying accuracy and documenting quality so you can buy with confidence.
Every Genesis engagement ring is included in this event, from a half carat up to 20 carat stones.
All shapes, rounds, ovals, radiants, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts. There has never been a better time to get an extreme value price on a GIA certified diamond, perfectly set in a gorgeous engagement ring. Hurry in for best selection. It's Genesis Diamonds GIA Diamond Extravaganza.
Save an extra 20% on these rare, precious diamond rings, now for a limited time. One per customer, please.
Exclusively at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aww. He just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, I'm Gary Smith, head coach of Nashville SC. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
G-Mace. He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mace.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willie, and
G-Mace.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Ask D-Mace. Get those questions in for D-Mace. Taking your calls and your text. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. And I tune into the Chase McCabe Show and Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. We'll broadcast live from Titans training camp, and we'll get player interviews, deliver the latest updates with Titans practice as the team preps for the 2023 season. All of our coverage of Titans training camp is presented by the Simmons Bank, Open, Parman Energy, Cardinal Vet Clinic, and the new Cumberland development. But let's get into your questions for D-Mace. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Eric is on the line with a question for D-Mace. What's up, Eric?
Hey, guys, I also got a dad joke for you, D-Mace, if you want to hear it.
Let's do it.
Okay. So you probably have heard that recently the guy that invented the throat lozenge has recently passed away. Do you know what that means?
What is that?
Well, it means no coughing at his funeral.
Oh, that took me a second.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Hold on. That was a good one. I give you that. That was a good one.
It took me a second.
That's the main thing. If he likes it, that's the main thing.
Okay.
It hits you a couple levels there. You get the first level, then you get the second level. It's pretty clever.
Yeah.
You guys saw the shirt that I texted you guys
That
from
was so funny.
the local workout facility up
Yes.
in New York or in Rhode Island. The T-shirt.
Yeah.
And Eric, you should get yourself one of these.
Okay.
dad jokes are how I roll, but it's I
Like
roll.
EYE.
Like
I roll.
Yeah, an eye roll. Like, oh.
Yeah,
Dad
that's
jokes
good
are how I roll.
D-Mace needs that question or that shirt for
Oh,
Fridays.
Okay, yeah. My question for you, D-Mace, is this. What is the number one thing that you're looking forward to or what you want to see in tomorrow night's preseason games? Guys, y'all take care. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for your call, Eric.
Other than the offensive line, because I think that's what everyone wants to see. How does this offensive line hold up against another opponent that's not, their team? But other than that, I do want to see both the quarterbacks, how they perform. I most importantly want to see, are we going to get a glimpse of how this offense, from a play call standpoint, how it's going to look? The defense, I'm not, even though I do want to see the defensive backs, but I think the defense, I'm good with the defense unless somebody gets hurt. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, the starting defense, get them out of there.
I think they're going to be fine.
Don't even go to Chicago.
There are going to be some ups and downs in the season for the defense, I know. But for the most part, this is going to be a good defense. It's the offense. I want to see, like everyone else, the offensive line, how they play, the two quarterbacks. But I want to see how Tim Kelly calls these games, because I want to see if he's going to give us a glimpse of what it's going to be like in the regular season.
Yeah, I would agree. One texter texts in, says, a little film junkie here, an X's and O's question. What's the easiest route and the hardest route to get open against press coverage?
The easiest route to get open, is a go route. Just got to run and outrun the guy.
The Jalen Hyatt
in press coverage. The hardest route to run versus press coverage, it could be sort of an in-breaking route because a lot of times if you beat that guy off the line of scrimmage, whether it be inside or outside, he's trailing you. And, his help is that safety help in the middle. So he's hoping he funnels you into he's hoping that you run a deep end route so he can sort of undercut that. But that is a lot of times that route, at least for me, when they're playing press coverage, it's a little bit harder to get open. You got to play with it a little bit at the top of your stem. You got to play with it a little bit to kind of get the defensive back off balance and then break in. But anything, not going like strictly going down the field, a post, a goal, skinny post, stuff like that. Anytime you got to break 10, 15 yards and that guy's on you, that's tough because now if we're close together, he can grab me without the ref seeing. He can kind of push me a little bit, knock me off balance if I'm not, if I'm not running the route the way I need to. So to me, those were sort of the hardest routes to run versus press coverage, that inside breaking out. I love running non-stops versus press coverage. I love running curl routes versus press coverage because I can get that guy running. And I would bet on myself every time. There was not a defensive back in the National Football League that could stop as quick as I could stop. They just couldn't. Nine routes, 9 stop routes, sluggo stop routes. You give me that route versus any coverage, I'm getting open.
Putting those knees to the test.
Yeah, I'm getting open. That's why my knee's bad now.
Well, they went to good use for many years. For many years. Another texter texts in, says, do you think that Malik Willis will be QB2 at the start of the season?
It depends on how he plays during the preseason. If things continue to go the way they have been going from what we've seen, then, yeah, there's a high possibility that he is quarterback 2. And, that's not an indictment on Will Levis. It's not. It's more so what Malik Willis has done this offseason and how he's prepared himself. But I don't know if it just depends on what he does in these preseason games. To me, it has nothing to do with Will Levis. It has everything to do with how he performs if he continues to take those steps that he has been taking the last 2.5 weeks, if he continues that in the preseason, he'll be fine.
Got a texter that says, D-Mace, college baseball just put in a rule that you cannot have contact before a player, and you cannot offer a scholarship to a high school player before basically the summer before his junior year starts. And that changes to where you could get a commitment from a guy in the 9th grade, maybe, I don't know, theoretically the 8th grade or whatever. Do you like that rule, and should college football do something similar? Like, for example, when did you commit?
I didn't commit into my senior, after the season. My
senior
year.
The senior
Yeah.
senior
After
season.
my
Now, it's a
senior
fall
year.
sport as opposed to a spring sport for baseball, so I get that a little
Right.
bit. But I like that rule for college baseball. I feel like that should be across the board. There are some other sports that do that, but I think it's an interesting text, and I wonder if football will go a little closer to that to stop the madness of committing kids when they're ninth grade.
Yeah,
10th grade.
And it was different back then, because I think back then that was the norm. A guy getting offers his, starting like the summer going into his senior season. Yeah, he got a bunch of letters, or she got a bunch of letters, maybe a sophomore year, junior year, but they didn't start committing until senior year. Like it was about 4 or 5 of us that went to Division I colleges my senior year in football, but we all didn't commit until
Stacked team. My
we
goodness.
had a really good team, but we didn't sign our letters or commit until after the season. That's when I was taking my visits after the season. But sports is different now. I get it, but I do like that rule. Like, it doesn't benefit me as a university, and the only benefit it gives to a high school student, boy or girl, is the bragging rights that, I got
He's
this
wearing
committed
your
to
shirt around school.
But it does nothing for the university, because at any time, both can say, you know what, I don't want to go there, or we don't have a scholarship for you now because this guy that we thought was going to commit somewhere else, now he wants to come here so we can pull your scholarship. That it only hurts, because now if I walk away as a student, then they're a little bit upset, and if you remove my scholarship from me, withdraw my scholarship, now me and my family's upset. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense, or it's not beneficial to no one when you offer somebody a scholarship in the 9th grade, because I guarantee you, I've seen a lot of men and women, they are great 8th grade, 9th grade year, you offer them that scholarship, they may be good 10th grade year, and all of a sudden they start going downhill.
And you grow a
Exactly.
lot. Physically, mentally,
And
emotionally.
then people outgrow you.
Yeah, right.
Or people get better, So I think it would be better if they, like you said, Willie, going into their, the summer of their junior year or senior year.
Yeah, they've now made a change for baseball, and there are similar rules, I guess, in lacrosse and softball, but you can't have any contact before August or until August 1st before the player's junior year of high school.
Yeah, I think that should be across the board.
So it's basically right about now, you're a rising junior, that now coaches can go talk to you.
Exactly. They should be able
Maybe
to
even
now.
offer you a scholarship. That's reasonable.
I remember
9th grade, 10th grade, that's early.
It's
It's too early.
And I believe it was a sit down. I believe Nick Saban, sat down with SiriusXM. Maybe it was at SEC Media Days, maybe earlier in the summer. Nick Saban said 7 of the 12 months of the year, he and his staff work every single day, around the clock, early mornings, late nights, have 0 days off, 7 of the 12 months of the year. That is outrageous, because yes, you're coaching and you're developing game plans and you're going to practices, but a whole lot of that work is all recruiting.
Yeah.
So if you take that away from coaching staffs, maybe it makes their quality of life a little bit better.
It should.
And you're not going to stop scouting kids when they're in 9th and 10th grade. But if you can't have those face-to-face meetings, maybe that just levels the playing field and alleviates a little bit from these coaching staffs. Because 7 months of the year, you're working every single day. Like, that is That's ridiculous. You
Yep.
cannot maintain that. And you're probably going to push a whole lot of people out of the profession who could be really good coaches just because they don't want to do that. They have other things in their life that they want to focus on.
That makes sense. It's for the coaches as well as the kids.
Right, exactly. More questions for D. Mace coming up next. 615-737-1025. Caroline, Willie, D. Mace, 1025, 1063 The Game.
Green right, box 2 run, double catch. He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback. Wide 85, take! Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline Fenton here for our friends over at Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use the promo code Caroline, my name, Caroline, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they'll match your first bet up to $250 with promo code Caroline. So will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP, and which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Simply download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the Caroline promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chillin' all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Seems like everything costs more these days. Food, utilities, medical costs, you name it. But as prices go up, our family budget stays the same. Fortunately, with Farm Bureau Health Plan's Core Choice coverage, we can save $3,600 a year compared to the leading competitor. And we've got better coverage with a lower premium, lower deductible, free telehealth visits, and access to one of the largest networks available. Start saving today at FBHP.com or visit your local Farm Bureau office.
Check, check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
Arthritis and rheumatic conditions are leading causes of disabilities among adults. Joint replacement could be the solution. The team at Houston Clinic Orthopedics approaches each case with a complete evaluation to see if surgery is right for you. Houston Clinic Orthopedics specializes in arthritis, hip, knee, and shoulder replacements, hip fractures, osteoarthritis of the hip, and joint pain. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Ask D. Mace. Get those questions in for D. Mace. Taking your calls and text 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Tim is on the line with a question for D. Mace. What's up, Tim?
Hey, guys. Enjoying the show. Let me kind of preface this first, D. Mace.
And the reason I say this, I run the scoreboard for a local NAIA college basketball team here in where I live. And we were running the board one night, and I had a lady that hollered at the referees, and they had been bad all night, and she hollered, "Hey, Foot Locker wants their shirts back." So, who was one of the best, most creative trash talkers you ever played with? And then I wanted to make a comment about committing early.
Let me see. Sam Madison.
Was it you?
Nah, it wasn't me. I didn't trash talk per se, but if you started it, I was just gonna go in with you.
You're not gonna finish
it. I was just gonna go ahead and finish it, and we can go and talk, for majority of the game. But I didn't start it because I'm like, man, listen, if you want to do this and you start it, okay, but I don't want to waste my energy, going back trash talking with you, because that's all you're doing, wasting energy. But Sam Madison, Sam is a good guy. He's just a good guy. Playing against him was hell because he was a very good defensive back. But he's never stopped talking. This dude, I played him against him in college. He didn't stop talking. I played against him when he was in the NFL. The guy doesn't stop talking. He probably still talking to this day. I mean, goodness, he was one of those trash talkers that it didn't get under your nerves, but he never stopped talking. Even if he had to talk to himself, I think he would talk.
Just wanted to hear the sound of his own voice.
He just, that's the Florida boys. That's how they grew up, talking trash.
Different. Different. Tim, what was your second point?
Yeah, the other part was, Willie, you remember, if I'm not mistaken, Steve Alford, didn't he commit when he was in the 6th grade to Bobby Knight?
I think you're thinking of Damon Bailey, who was a little bit after that. It was like the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as the best 8th grader in the country, and he had committed to Bobby Knight at that point. If Alford may have committed early, I'm not sure, but it wasn't hyped up that I remember. But Damon Bailey was definitely who I played against.
Damon Bailey was the one, I think maybe it was, but I think Steve did too. So, all right, enjoy the show.
Well, I mean, it's been going on for a long time. Like, there was remember, we used to call him Baby Shaq. John Henderson from Pearl Cone, when he was 8th, 9th grade, people were offering him. He could have played basketball. He could have played football. Of course, he ends up being a first-round pick for the Jaguars. Played for a long time. There are certain guys that you just know are going to be Division I athletes, and everybody's gravitating to them. But I still think there's a lot of benefit in waiting, let the kid grow up a little bit, let the kid start learning about the different colleges, not have the pressure of having to make that decision at such a young age.
Can't stop recruiting. Always got to recruit.
Hey, D-Mace, I got a question for you. Adam, our intern back here, wanted me to ask you, when did you get your first offer for college, and how old were you?
I got my first offer, man. I believe it was my junior year, headed into my senior year. So I guess it was in my junior year, headed to my senior year. Or it might have been right at the beginning of my senior year. But it was the University of Buffalo. That was the first letter I got, first everything, University of Buffalo. Think I was going to University of Buffalo? Hell no.
I've been to Buffalo one time.
No.
And I have no desire to go back.
I've been there several times to play. That's it. I didn't want to live in the city of Buffalo. Hey, Buffalo could be a great city.
It's underrated, I'm telling you.
It's underrated so much so that it's under snow all the time.
I have not had to dig out a car like the Bills did last year. They did have to dig their cars out of the snow. That was unbelievable video to see.
That is brutal.
I also have a dad joke for you all. Ooh. What do you call a photographer that is out of control? A loose cannon.
Ooh.
I like that one.
Right.
I like it. I like
all
it.
Right.
I like it.
We do have another dad joke. Michael from Missouri. What's brown and sticky?
I don't know. Honey.
A stick. I thought you'd like one. Stick.
That was so simple, too. Oh, that was so simple.
That was a good one.
Goodness.
David Texan asked Team Ace, what's the key to success in the NFL outside of just pure athletic ability?
The key to success, putting aside your athletic ability. One, I think you have to be a coachable individual. You have to have that will and that drive to work, and not just work when you're on the football field. Work in the off season. You have to, even though it's a game, you cannot approach it in that manner because it's a business, and you are your own business. So you got to, if you want to be successful or you want to have a successful business, what do? You make sure you do the things necessary. You put in the hours, the time, all those things that everyone else is not doing, you're doing. And then, I mean, a lot of it, I think the most important thing, what I found out is, honestly, you got to be lucky in a sense, because there were guys, that I seen that had a lot of talent, but they just couldn't stay on the field. They got hurt for whatever reason. So a lot of it boils down to you being lucky or blessed or whatever you want to call it. But beside that, you need to take it seriously. You need to work at it, continue to work at it, and just find other people, in this profession, at least veteran guys that have done it. Pick their brains and see some of the things that they've done to have a long career, especially if you're on a team. I was on a team, obviously, Steve, Eddie, Bruce Matthews. So you're watching what those guys do throughout the day, and you sort of want to emulate some of those things because whatever they're doing, it's allowed them, especially Bruce Matthews, whatever he's doing has allowed him to play almost 20 years. So the offensive line, we're looking at what he did. And for me, it was just looking at some of the other veteran guys and what they did and being coachable. I think that's the most important thing besides your talent is being coachable, understanding what you need to do, knowing that some days you may get chewed out. And it's like, okay, so be it. But I got to have thick skin and come back out there and put together better tape because coaches – Heimerdinger, whew. If you couldn't take Heimerdinger, you couldn't play in the NFL. Because Jaime, man, if he would get on you. He got on me, so he would get on you if you weren't doing the things that he asked you to do. But he did it because he saw something in you. And if you couldn't take that, and if you all of a sudden went in the shell because of that, you can't play in this league. Just can't.
Matthew in Nashville. D-Mace, whose contract dispute gets resolved first? Jonathan Taylor, Chris Jones, Josh Jacobs, or Nick Bosa?
Oh, man. Gosh. Those running backs, I don't know if they're going to get situated.
Well,
that's a tough
Jonathan
situation.
Taylor one's
tough one. Yeah, he walked out of camp again. He left camp again.
If the owner of the football team for which I played said that if I died, the NFL would keep going, I don't know if I'd want to be in practice either.
Even though it's true, don't tell me that. Don't say it out loud.
It's so weird to say.
Exactly. I think the Chris Jones gets done quicker. Bosa, let me say this. I think it's between Chris Jones and Bosa. I think the running backs, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I think it's between Chris Jones. Now, the problem that Bosa has, they just paid their quarterback. So they're going to have to finagle and free up money to try to give him his contract. Chris Jones, I think his contract gets done before Bosa's. But when that is, I don't know. Maybe it's right at the start of the season. Because they don't need neither one of the guys for preseason. But I think right before the season, Chris Jones gets signed. And Bosa may not sign. Because he still has, 2 years left, something like that. And then they can franchise tag him. So I think he's going to have to come back. I think Bosa's going to have to come back.
Vincent says, D-Mace, I left a numbered list for my handyman. When I got home, job number 1 was done, as was job number 3 and 5. When I called him to complain, he said, my ad clearly says I do any odd jobs.
That one tickled D-Mace.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like he was literal with his. He was literal like, I do odd jobs, like 1, 3, and 5. You know, those other jobs in the middle, I'm not doing.
Even jobs. Just odd jobs.
Oh, man. That was a good one.
Ask D-Mace. Appreciate everyone for chiming in for Ask D-Mace. Coming up next, we've done some of our offensive roster locks. Let's get to the other side of the ball. Our defensive roster lock, since we are less than 24 hours away from Tennessee Titans football in Chicago tomorrow. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
This week's Nashville's best deal is CBD American Shaman. Step into one of the CBD American Shaman's retail stores and sample various CBD products, while a CBD consultant is there to answer any of your questions. They select top-grade hemp plants grown on agriculturally responsible farms right here in the USA and bring worldwide wellness through ultra-concentrated CBD oil. They even have CBD treatments for your pets. Get half off a $30 gift card right now to their Goodlettsville or Hendersonville location at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. Tonight, Nashville SC hosts Minnesota United FC in the quarterfinals of the League's Cup. Nashville won this past Tuesday versus Club America in penalty kicks. Here's Gary Smith after Tuesday night's match in preparation for tonight's game.
And we're starting slowly but surely to get that group back again that I think was fragmented somewhat when we went into the Gold Cup. You know, we ran into some issues in that period beyond. And we're getting back to that group now, and you can sense it in the locker room. We've got a wonderful addition in the gentleman next to me. I think that gives everyone a boost.
Tune in later this evening as the Nashville Sounds take the diamond versus the Indianapolis Indians and look to extend their 3-game win streak to 4. You can listen to the game on 94.9 The Fan. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 1025 and 1063.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. And hey, if you want to get out of the summer heat, come join us for craft brews, food, games, and entertainment at the 2023 Nashville Predators Craft Beer Festival. The fun begins tonight from 6:30 to 10 p.m. at Bridgestone Arena. Proceeds benefit the Preds Foundation, which supports Middle Tennessee nonprofit groups and programs in the community. We are less than 24 hours away from a real-life Titans football game. The crowd goes wild. Ah.
Finally.
It's happening. It's happening. Woohoo! So we're taking today to announce our official roster locks of the season. Now, this is not our 53-man roster. This is, if a guy isn't a lock, that doesn't mean that we don't think they're going to make the team. A lock is just that. Guys that are just set aside in a different category of the roster, guys that are absolute no-brainers. I think all 3 quarterbacks are locks. Willie's not quite going there. I think Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears are locks. Not quite Hassan Haskins or Jonathan Ward quite yet. I think D-Hop, Traylon Burks, Kyle Phillips, Nick Westbrook-Akine, those 4, not Nick Westbrook-Akine, Chris Moore. Those 4, Traylon Burks, Kyle Phillips, D-Hop, Chris Moore, are locks from the receiver group. Throw all the offensive linemen in there. Everybody's making the team.
Yeah.
They have to. You got no other option. Throw them all in there. Chig's a lock. Let's head to the defense. Hot take of the day. Jeffrey Simmons, roster lock.
I don't think Jeff's a lock. I really don't. There's something, he needs to step his game up just a little bit more.
I need to see more.
Yeah, I need to see more from Jeffrey. I mean, shoot, they didn't give him this money. I need to see a little bit more. If I don't see a little bit more, then they need to cut him.
Put him on the practice squad.
I would put him, if I was the head coach, I would put him on the practice squad right now. Like,
we're joking. For anybody that didn't pick that up.
We're joking.
We're joking. Yes. Jeffrey Simmons is a lock. Tier Tart. Naquan Jones, I think, locks.
Yeah, we're just talking about just the front 3. You know, I would say Simmons, Tart, Jones,
Autry,
Harold Landry, Aziz, Arden Key. Those guys are locks, I believe.
I'll call Rashad Weaver a lock.
Yeah, Rashad Weaver, exactly. We had him on the show, really good, I was about to say kid, but young man. And he came on last year, and he talked about his leg injury the year prior, his rookie year, and him just working through it. But he showed flashes last year, and I know he's looking to build on that this upcoming season. So, yeah, Rashad Weaver is another guy I believe is a lock. But here's the problem. You know, the problem with this defensive line is they have a great player or a guy that's ascending to be great in Jeffrey Simmons. They have some really good players in Tier Tart and Denico Autry, Rashad Weaver. This is a very competitive room. This might be the most competitive room in the building, the defensive line, or the front 7. Let's just say the front 7. So, you know, the guys
really
that we mentioned.
To bottom.
Yeah, top to bottom. You know, the guys that we mentioned are locks, I believe. But then the guys behind them, they got to work. They got to show that they belong. And special teams is a way that they can do it as well.
I see this being a great strength. What are you guys seeing? This is a question of what did I miss? How is Landry coming along? What do we think?
So we asked TD that question on Monday. And he was really focusing in on Harold Landry. And there were a couple of drills that he was doing. And TD mentioned how he kind of swung around on the side and changed position really quickly, put a lot of strain on his knees, both of them. He said that that's a really good sign, that he not only feels comfortable doing that and putting so much weight and pressure on his knees, but he physically can do that. So I think Harold Landry is coming along really well from what I've seen so far in practice.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to, try to press him any to be out there no more than what he should. But we haven't heard anything bad, like any setbacks or anything else. All the things that we're hearing is he's making progress. He's looking good. I don't expect him to be back to the old Harold Landry, at least until middle to latter part of the season. I think that's when he's going to sort of get his legs up underneath him and be ready to roll.
Which I don't love to hear, and I agree with you, that it's hard to ask a guy, and we've seen this so many times, Taylor Lewan, Bud Dupree, Odell Beckham Jr. mentioned it as well. Robert Woods.
Same thing.
That even though you're medically cleared, and even though everything feels good after like 9 months to a calendar year, it takes you even longer to get back to fully 100%, to total full strength. And if we're going to talk about this defense potentially carrying this team a good bit of the way, you need 100% Harold Landry.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be able to ramp him up and not rush him in. Like Bud Dupree rushed back in and he was never the same.
Yeah.
Really, he never was
Lewan
what
did
they
the same
hoped he
thing.
would be. Taylor
Lewan,
Lewan,
same
I
thing.
think the same thing.
Yeah.
So maybe they've gone to school on that. Robert Woods, again, I think he worked extremely hard, but he just wasn't quite the same. So if you have the luxury of being able to give him a little more time and a little more runway, that's a great thing. Maybe you get more out of him that way.
I think what's interesting is this inside linebacker battle. Monty Rice and Jack Gibbons. I can't call either of them locks. They're both going to make the team, I think, but
Yeah.
I can't call either of them absolute locks quite yet.
But are we saying they're going to – if you're saying they're going to make the team, that would define them as locks to make the team. So lock to start, how much to play, that's to be determined,
Maybe
right?
that's a fair point of how much playing time they're going to get.
Do you think they'll be used with situational kind of thing? If it's a certain down and distance, we might like how Gibbons goes. If it's another, we might like what Rice has to offer. It's a dangerous game because the offense sees that too. It's like, oh, so-and-so's in there. We can exploit him here. But I wonder about that, if they'll both end up playing some.
I think they will. But, who are locks at starters the way, at this point? Because you're right. Being a lock as a starter and being a lock on the team is two different things.
Yeah, I would say they're a lock on the team, but I can't say either is a lock to be a starter. They're going to play that out over the next couple of weeks. Secondary, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Amani Hooker, Kevin Byard, Christian Fulton, Roger McCreary, Elijah Molden.
Locks. Yeah. Everybody after that.
Akeem Carter, Trey Avery, Chris Jackson. Going to need to see a little bit more. Amani Marsh is one guy at the safety position that TD has loved. I've seen him make some pretty solid plays so far in training camp. Not a lock, but
even him, he has to prove his worth on special teams as well because of the guys you already have at safety. So he has to prove that he can not only play on the defense if we need him, but more importantly, he's one of our core special teams guys. So.
And on special teams, Ryan Stonehouse.
That's the only
lock.
lock. That's the only lock I see on special teams.
Kicker, who freaking knows?
Yeah. I don't know who's going to be the place kicker. Anybody have any ideas? I mean,
I was going to ask you guys. I admire Jim Wyatt with he's got every charted guy. I'm sure Jared's got his own little special chart with colors and everything.
Well,
because he's been standing under the goalpost.
Field goal color.
Yes.
Did you hear? I don't know. I think you were gone at this point. Jared was taking his job very seriously, and he's standing underneath the uprights. A ball falls right his way, and he just fumbles the bag.
He drops it.
He drops it. And he blamed it on the fact that he didn't have his gloves.
Didn't have the gloves.
Exactly. It's like, who uses that as an excuse? I didn't have my gloves on.
Did he make contact with the ball?
Yes.
Oh, the ball made contact with him.
Exactly.
Now,
so you should have called
Did he try to body catch it, or did he try to get the hands out and do it the way you're supposed to do it?
He tried to body catch it.
Okay.
Like bring it in, use his chest a little bit. Yeah.
If you body catch it, do the gloves really mean as much?
Exactly. They don't.
That's kind of where I'm going.
Our official field goal judge, Jared Stillman, who does a wonderful job.
Who does he think is going to be, with his special perspective on this kicker?
You don't think anyone of them.
Literal special perspective as he's standing underneath the uprights.
Who does he like?
I don't know.
I don't think you like either one of them, honestly.
I think he just has a bad taste in his mouth
Yeah,
for
but
anyone in
kickers,
special
period.
teams because of Craig Ackerman.
I do have a wonder if because they could both be very good in the preseason, and then you might still look around and see a veteran kicker out there that for one reason or another is available, and that would be a decision you have to make. I mean, you could wait until the day before the regular season started. Like Gostkowski, when did they bring him in? I can't remember. And he didn't light the world on fire. He had one bad year. He made a bunch of kicks, but he missed a bunch of kicks.
Well,
too.
if this doesn't sort of work itself out, if they're not sold completely on a kicker, I can see them, which it may be beneficial to them, it may not be. I don't know. Because if they're not sold on this kicker, they do need one. Potentially, keeping one of these kickers, and after the first game, bring in another kicker, because then they can create sort of a battle, and if that kicker doesn't work out, they can cut him without having to pay him for the whole season.
Well, this franchise has had a carousel of kickers for a long time now. Why stop now?
I mean,
just keep the carousel going.
But at one point, this team, they went from Al Del Greco to Joe Nedney to, I think it was Rob Baronis after that, to Rob Baronis. So you're talking about 3 kickers. And
like
I know
franchise kickers.
Yeah, I know Al had his problems in the Super Bowl, but Al, that's my dude still. But you're talking about kickers that we didn't have to worry about, you know. And all of a sudden, like within the last couple of years, we've had to worry about a kicker.
I'm sick of worrying about kickers.
Yeah.
Especially when they're hitting from, 42. In the NFL, I shouldn't have to worry about that. In college, it's all over the place. But in the NFL, you want your kicker to be nails. And I'm sick of not having a nails kicker. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We had football last night, and it was nice to have football. Tough to watch at times. But what we watched last night in the preseason games and what we're looking forward to watch in other preseason games around the league, we'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
We are live and local.
I think Vanderbilt is steady, disciplined.
It's been so long since Tennessee's gotten out of the first weekend.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I don't mind going to another team.
You want to know what the coaching staff's going to look like?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Happy Friday, everyone. Men, I need you to listen up because I need to tell you about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife Daphne, along with that experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. They are there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. So, men, there's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. Here's the number. Call today. Don't forget, 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458. Or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
When looking for quality adult recreational sports in Nashville, look no further than Midstate Sports. With over 25,000 participants, they are one of the largest sports organizations in the Southeast. Summer registration is now open for adult sports like softball, sand volleyball, soccer, flag football, kickball, and basketball. For a full list of adult sports offerings, check out midstatesports.com. It's no debate. Play Midstate.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 1025 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Early in his Patriots tenure. Now Stroud hanging in, throws it to the near side, picked up. And on the return for the Pats, sidestepping ahead is Mills. Takes it back across the middle. Try to turn the corner on the far side. It's still on his feet. Until he takes the spill at the 24.
There you go. That was in the Houston-New England preseason game last night. C.J. Stroud's first NFL appearance, his first look in a Texans uniform. And it left a lot to be desired. Opening drive, throws an interception on his first pass, gets sacked. A whole lot of short yard passes. He was 2 for 4. Not a great first outing for C.J. Stroud. And it didn't need to come out there and beat Tom Brady in his first game of the season. But I think it's a kind of a reminder to everyone that sometimes it's okay to sit a quarterback for a little bit. And he's got a lot of time before the start of the season. He's got more preseason games. He's got joint practices. He's got a lot to learn in the next couple of weeks. But he looked rough in that first preseason game. So if he doesn't start right away, if it is going to be the Davis Mills show in Houston, that's fine. And I think it's a reminder that even, the third overall pick in this year's, second overall pick in this year's draft can stand to wait a little bit. Like, you don't have to rush these quarterbacks right away if it means that it's going to pay off for his development in the long run.
Yeah, there's no need, to me at least, in Houston's situation, to rush C.J. Stroud. You have a quarterback in Davis Mills that is a good quarterback. Is he do you want him to be your starter, franchise quarterback? No. But I think he can, do the things necessary until C.J. Stroud gets ready, until he's ready to play. I think Davis Mills showed at points last year that he can run the offense. And I think Houston's going to have to rely a lot on their defense this season in running the football. So if I don't have to play C.J. Stroud, I'm not. But I'm not going to look at this one game yesterday and say, "Oh, I'm through with him. I'm done."
Yeah, he's not a bust because of what he did yesterday. But it was bad.
Yeah, it happens. And I'm sure, well, at least I hope, his next outing would be much better than what it was yesterday.
I will ask you this question, D-Mace, because I would love to hear from a lot of coaches on this. And Caroline, you weigh in on this too. Would you rather, in the preseason game, forget about when it's a real game, for a rookie to take chances and say, look, I just want you to be loose, don't think, just play, and don't worry about it if you get 3 interceptions. Like, take chances, be aggressive. Don't just take the checkdowns. Would you rather have him play that way, or let's not make a mistake, let's make sure we throw these nice little simple passes so he's 4 for 5? The answer is probably somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But would you rather lean on, look, I don't care if you throw 3 interceptions. How many coaches would go that way as opposed to, I got to bring this guy on with little baby spoonfuls and keep it real simple?
See, that's
would you rather
hard.
almost push out and find out what you can't do right away?
It's hard because you don't want to then, his confidence to get rattled because you're saying, don't worry about it. Just go out and make the throws. Just throw it. Don't worry about it. Just throw it. Well, I know that. Y'all know that as a coaching staff. But when it happens, nobody else knows it, and now I'm getting ripped for it from every angle.
So that is part of the answer is you are going to get it's going to be on a loop.
Exactly.
Right? We just played it, right? It's everywhere. We're not the only show I'm sure was playing that. So and now you got to process that as
spoon feeding them. And hopefully it's like a bunch of quick stuff, slant routes, shallow crosses, swing routes to the running back, something that he sees very easy and he can throw it.
Like Peyton Manning had a ton of interceptions his first year, right? Yeah. And he sort of learned what he couldn't get away with, and he was able to overcome that, and it probably made him better faster.
I say let it rip.
It's
the preseason.
Let it rip.
And have that conversation.
And be okay with all the criticism and look at this, he really struggled.
I would have that conversation with him and say, look, you're going to have to go out there and make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes no matter what. Do it now in the preseason when, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter versus when it does, if and when you do have to go in. And have that conversation of people are going to rip you apart because you are a highly touted prospect, you are a highly drafted quarterback, but it's okay because it doesn't matter. Once the season starts and once other people mess up, that's going to be the topic of conversation. That's going to be the lead story. I think it's tough for C.J. Stroud that his NFL debut was going on when nothing else was happening before any other game in the preseason, because by tonight when we see other games, or tomorrow and Sunday when we see other games, what CJ Stroud did in game 1 isn't going to be even in the top 10 list of topics of things that we're going to be worried about. I say let him make the mistakes, let him learn from it. If he throws 3 interceptions, fine, who cares? It's a preseason game. Let him make those mistakes. Like last year with Malik Willis in that Baltimore game. Mike Vrabel was getting frustrated with Malik because he just wanted him to throw it. Quit holding on. Quit running. Just throw the football. If it gets picked off, that's fine. We'll watch tape and we'll break it down. Just throw the football. Get into the habit of taking some of those risks.
You know what's interesting about that is, or in this discussion we're having, is last year Malik Willis was the sole focus of the development, right? Let's let him play a ton. Let's be teaching, and let's just go with it, take some chances. Now that he is in a, quote, competition, right, we'd like to think that this is a competition between Levis and Malik Willis.
Totally.
How does that affect the chances they take when they're in there? Because you're trying to outplay the other guy. And so how much risk do you take as opposed to taking the checkdowns, et cetera? Like, Willis has been through it for a year. I would think that Willis should be ahead of Levis in these situations now because he's done it for a year. So Levis should be behind, right? But I do wonder about that whole, I want to see you try to make plays rather than just take the checkdowns. Let's see what you got. We're competing for a job here.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of the tough thing is how much are they competing against each other versus how much are they competing against the things that they just need to work on. Because if Malik Willis in the preseason game, let's say, defers to just a check down or just a handoff, that I want to see him drop back and have to make quick decisions. Because that's his problem. That's what he's been struggling with really ever since we first saw him in a Titans uniform, is letting go of the football. If he can do that, if he drops back, let's go with the football. Maybe it's not a great throw, but okay, but you're making those decisions quickly. If Will Levis goes out there and he, throws the ball 4 times and just hands the ball off, like I'm not learning anything about him. I don't. Sure, he can have command of the offense, but I'm not learning what he is and who he is as a passer and as a quarterback. Even if you win, and even if you hand it off every single time, and it's a house call every single time. I'm not learning anything about Will Levis.
If I'm Malik Willis, Derek, I want to show everybody that the days of, hey, it's 3rd and 8, and I'm afraid to call a pass that might put risk out there because I don't think he can read the coverage. I don't think our receivers are that great to begin with. Like, that was happening last year. It was like, look, let's just punt.
It was bad all the way around.
Let's just punt. Or maybe we'll throw the check down. Maybe a guy breaks a tackle. But they had to keep it simple. Like, they couldn't call something complex. I want to show you that I've gone to the next level if I'm Malik Willis there. So I'm wondering if we'll see that some tomorrow. A little more down the field. If it's 3rd and 8, let's attack the sticks. Let's try to get the first down.
Another game that I'm excited to watch, or player, rather, that I'm excited to watch outside of the Titans, I'm so excited to watch Bryce Young. I loved watching Bryce Young when he was in college. And there was so much criticism of Bryce Young and what he could do at the next level. All fair. Like, Bryce Young's a small guy.
Yes.
There's not a whole lot of small guys that can be successful and hold up in the NFL. But I'm excited to at least get a peek of what he's been working on in Carolina.
Yeah, me too. I want to see what, I thought, he was the best quarterback in this year's draft. I thought he was the best quarterback, period, in college football this season and last season. But how does that translate to the NFL? You were great in college, and we've all seen guys at the quarterback position or any other position that they dominate the college, ranks, and then they get to the pros, and it's something different. But I'm just eager to see how this young man how he sort of accepts that role as now the face of the franchise. And I'm not looking for him to go out there and be perfect, but are there things that we see that can be encouraging just from a fan of his, not necessarily because I like the Carolina Panthers, but I like Bryce Young.
I love Bryce Young.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Bryce Young.
Me
I also
too.
wonder how much we're going to see Anthony Richardson in the preseason. I'm
That's
guessing
another
a
guy I
good
want to
bit.
see. Yeah, Anthony Richardson, and see what he does. They're the chatter in Indianapolis is pretty good. In regards to him. So can he, now can he put it to use when it matters? Not to say that preseason matters a lot, but it matters to him and his growth.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get into your thoughts on this coming up next. Plus, I think the NFL just made a really good move, and maybe it's a really good move only because it benefits me. But I think that it was smart. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mays, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The Vanderbilt Commodores are ready for year 3 under head coach Clark Lee.
As we stand now in front of a clean sheet. Our goal is postseason play.
And we are your home for all of the action.
Touchdown, Vandy. The doors on the board. Vandy, 24-21, your final.
Vanderbilt football lives on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, D-Mace here to tell you about Zen Sports, the new sports betting app in Tennessee, revolutionizing sports betting rewards. What if I told you that you are wasting your time and money, for that matter, betting on any sport book that's not Zen Sports? Zen Sports offer real cash rewards for those lucky enough to be in Tennessee, and that means no funny money, points, or credit. For a welcome bonus, earn 5% cash back on every bet you place for your first 15 days with the code DMACE. Again, unlimited 5% cash back on your bets with the code DMACE. That's D MASON, and earn up to 3% cash back on your bets after that with the Zen Sports loyalty program. So make the switch today and start betting on Zen Sports. Your wallet and your purse will thank you later. Gambling problems, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older to bet in Tennessee. Zen Sports, people. Betting just got better.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Harris, and White House today.
Parman Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Parman Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman. Visit ParmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You want to know how to get better rates, better coverage, and better service on your home and auto insurance? Work with Zander Insurance. I know it's a big promise, but this team delivers. They've been around for almost 100 years and have earned the privilege of representing dozens of insurance companies so they can shop, compare, and find you the best options available. More options mean more savings, and in many cases, better coverage. But it doesn't stop there. Each year, they review your coverage to make sure your rates stay competitive. Nobody else does that. And when it comes to service, just check out their ratings. Zander is one of the top agencies in the industry, and they earned that spot with their commitment to making sure their clients are taken care of like family. That's what sets them apart. Go to Zander.com for quick online quotes or call 800-356-1780 for that personal touch that you've been missing.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
What's happening in Nashville? This is Scott Van Pelt. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, this week's Nashville's best deal is CBD American Shaman. Get half off a $30 gift card right now to their Goodlettsville or Hendersonville locations at thegamenashville.com/deals. Caroline Willie D. Mays is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. So I want to get into some of your phones, breaking down the preseason, some of your thoughts on the Titans and things going on around the league. But also, did you see this? That NFL Plus is now streaming the NFL Network and Red Zone for like an elevated package. Do either of you have NFL Plus?
Is that on ESPN? This on ESPN? I think I do have NFL Plus.
It's on its own
separate
platform. It's like on the app,
Yeah.
NFL app.
I think I do. Let me see.
You get all 22 tape on NFL Plus.
Yeah, I do have it. Yeah, because
you can
look
rewatch
at the all
games.
22s. Yes.
Yeah. I love it.
I do love that too.
I'm one of those
great.
guys that kind of forgets what I have and don't have.
too. That's why I had
I
to
was in
check.
Switzerland last year for the Titans Colts game, and I bought some Europe thing. I think I'm getting Swiss emails and stuff. Did I desubscribe? I don't know what I did.
Interesting. Swiss NFL.
Yeah, I guess.
But
I watched all the games. It was great.
it's great.
Was it like in the Swiss language?
No. It was the regular broadcast of
That'd have
all
been
of the
funny,
games.
though. That'd have been awesome.
But I don't know what I bought. Like, there are some
could be
games.
NFL Plus.
There's some games where I'm on the road with the Predators, and it's not easy for me to get to a sports bar in a certain city that you may not have the package there, or at least not near your hotel. So I like having it. So is this that? Like if I'm buying all the games there?
So it's basically like an app or a website that you can have on your smart TV or just go on your computer, and you can just watch all the games. And it's great because obviously with the regionality of things, you can't watch every single game. And then the all 22 comes out Tuesday? Either Monday or Tuesday after the games.
So. Yeah.
So you can watch the all 22. I've loved it. I'm a cord cutter. I don't have cable. I just have smart TVs, YouTube TV. So NFL Plus has been a great resource for me. So they're adding a second level to the NFL Plus membership. So you can have your regular NFL Plus membership that we
All
have had.
22s.
With all 22, you can watch, rewatch games. And now there's a second tier to it where you can get NFL Plus Premium, which feels a little bit redundant, NFL Plus Premium. It's $15 a month, or you can buy it for $100 a year, and you get Red Zone and the NFL Network. And I think $100 a year for NFL Network, for Red Zone, since Red Zone has felt like a very tough to get thing because it's only DirecTV can you get?
Yeah, DirecTV.
But isn't that changing this year? There's a YouTube TV,
It's
but it's
also on
also
YouTube
available
TV.
on DirecTV. I have DirecTV, so
So you can get on DirecTV, but you can
Yeah.
also get it on YouTube TV I think it's like a separate package for YouTube TV that you have to buy.
All this stuff is getting confusing.
It is confusing because it's basically
It
like
gets
just
more
lump
confusing
everything
every year.
together and call it cable. But I like that the NFL is doing this.
Man, I do, but okay, because I have the Red Zone, I believe, I believe I got it. It's DirecTV, so the Red Zone's on there. I think so.
But you have to buy it with DirecTV, right?
Yeah, I
It's
thought
a
it was
separate
package?
It's a
Okay.
separate package.
So it's basically the same thing, but just direct to consumer
Yeah.
rather than
So, but if
linear.
I already
you have to
it,
get the games to get to get the Red Zone. I think at first, if you just had DirecTV, you got the Red Zone, even if you didn't get the ticket, the what do we call it, Sunday ticket.
Yeah.
Now you have to get the Sunday ticket, and with that, you get the Red Zone. Isn't that right?
So one of my buddies owns a restaurant, and he said that they do a wholesale version on DirecTV for Sunday Ticket.
Yeah, it's
So-
different for a restaurant.
Yeah,
for sure
it
than
is.
for
But
the
for
person.
Sunday Ticket now with YouTube TV, it's like a separate thing. So you have NFL Red Zone on DirecTV, but then you also got to buy it through YouTube TV, is what I was told. Now, it could be completely different, but
Yeah. So I'm wondering if, because you know what they do these days. They just re-up your subscription, even if you don't say anything.
the automatic.
Automatic. Oh, you didn't want to renew? We renewed it.
So
Yeah.
if I'm understanding this, so it's just if you already have the Red Zone, then this doesn't apply
This
to
is
you.
really just for cord cutters.
Yeah,
Like if
if
you
you
don't
don't-
have
Okay.
cable, this would apply to you.
But then YouTube television, they have their own version of the Red Zone, right?
Yeah,
But it's the same Red Zone.
Red Zone.
But they have their own package.
Yeah.
Well, for a while, the DirecTV guy was different than the Comcast guy, right?
He still
on the
is
red zone.
different,
Still
right?
is different? So is
No,
there now a
they're the
YouTube
same.
guy?
No, Scott Hansen. It's universal.
It's all
now.
the same.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He's now
For a
it's
while,
all-
there were two different guys doing the
There
red zone.
were.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that. Willie.
They were both great. I don't know how
So
they did
NFL
it.
just making money hand over fist.
And now
Basically.
I'm
this is an
selling the
option, at
same
least.
project.
Hey.
I'm selling the same deal to everybody. Like
Exactly.
the same exact thing. It's not like I'm getting something different because I'm YouTube that DirecTV is getting. Like DirecTV is getting something different than I. No, we're all getting the same thing.
It's like games.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you get the games, whether it's YouTube TV
that
or
you get 'em.
cable. You just get them.
Oh, okay.
And it's the
Yeah.
same game across the board. But I think this is smart for the NFL because the NFL always seems to be adapting with the times, and they do it in a smart way. Like this is a way for people. Let's say you're on the road, you're not at home. If you have cable and you get Red Zone at home, now you can watch this on the go. Now you can watch it on your phone.
Yeah.
If you don't have YouTube TV, the NFL always seems to do it in be progressive in a smart way, where sometimes I feel like ESPN, for example, we were talking about how ESPN now has their own sports book and it's ESPN Bet.
Which don't
And
make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And it feels like ESPN always has to stick their nose in everything that's relevant just to say that, hey, we're doing it. But it doesn't really make sense and it doesn't feel natural. I feel like the NFL is always keeping up with the times in a way that feels natural and in a way that I'm like, you know what? I did want this. You're right. Thank you.
They
Where
stay ahead of the
ESPN gives me
curve when it
things where
comes
I'm
to
like,
money.
I don't need this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want this.
Yeah, but they're selling the same product, and
It's just a different way to
just
get
a
it.
different way to get it. So I mean, but again, the NFL, they want to own every day of the week. They literally want to own every day of the week. And this is just another way that they can own just about every household. Because if you don't want to buy cable, then you get it on ESPN Plus. If you don't want it, then you got YouTube TV, you got Apple Plus, you got Prime. So we just want to own. We just want to be in your household. We don't care how we do it. We just want to make sure we're in every household in the world that has a television.
So it's not on DirecTV. I've been corrected. Red
It's
Zone
not?
is no longer on
Oh, it's
DirecTV
not?
unless
So,
you
okay.
own a bar.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah,
I never
that's what I
really
was trying to
paid
mention
attention
earlier.
to it. Yeah, I
my
never
buddy
really
owns a restaurant. He said that's the only way you can get it.
Oh, so no wonder they opened it up.
Because I
to get
had
it
a
another
little
way.
exclusive deal when I graduated college. They did a student discount version of Sunday Ticket, and I had 2 years of it. So then the first year passed. This is awesome. Now it got up to YouTube TV, and they didn't re-up with them. I was like, well, I just missed out on a free year of discounted football on a Sunday. So that's kind of where I was getting. I was like, well, I guess DirecTV has cut the
Oh,
cord
they
with them.
probably, yeah. Well, I guess, hey, if they got another way for you to watch football, people going to watch it.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
people are going to
And
watch,
it's
just like Prime
giving you
last
new
year.
ways
Exactly.
to ingest the content.
That's one sport, because we were talking about that with MLS and them having to have Apple Plus to watch it. And people are like, well, I'm not going to get Apple Plus just to watch. Well, if the NFL does it, you're going to watch it. You're going to buy Apple Plus, or you're going to buy YouTube, or you're going to buy Hulu, whatever it is, just to watch an NFL game. And you know what? They know it.
Absolutely.
They know it.
Absolutely.
They can put it on an obscure channel. And if they're selling it, you'll watch it.
Like Peacock.
Yeah.
Like that playoff game.
Exactly. Everybody still watched it.
Is this season
Oh,
is
yeah.
going to be on Peacock.
Exactly. People still watch it.
And I don't have Peacock, but I'm going to get Peacock to watch that game. And the NFL has the ability to do that because it's the NFL.
Peacock is free, by the way, to Diamond members of Xfinity. Just putting that out there. So
What is that?
Yeah, God.
If you've been with
you
them
got to
for
be a
over
diamond member.
No,
Or
I'm just saying-
what happened to the gold member or the
If you-
platinum
the
member?
gold
Like,
member,
come
Austin
on.
Powers.
Goodness.
Now, if you've been with them for like 10, 20 years or something like that, you're like get it for
Xfinity?
free.
You've
Yeah.
been with Xfinity for 20 years?
Well, I mean, they were Comcast at one point. Now they're Xfinity.
Hell, she's only been adult for 10 years. How's she going to have Xfinity for 20 years?
But she's a proud cord cutter, so you can't be a diamond member.
Proud cord cutter. I do have Xfinity Wi-Fi, though.
Okay, there we go.
And I've
That
had
doesn't
it
count?
for a solid month. So what do I get with that? Do I get free anything?
You get a free cookie.
you get to pay your bill next month.
Lucky me. Being an adult rocks. 615-737-1025. We will take it to the bank coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D. Mays, 102.5, 106 The Game.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Don't be surprised this week to see other jewelry store owners shopping at Genesis Diamonds. They'll be taking advantage of Genesis' most aggressive offer ever. All GIA diamond engagement rings marked down an extra 20% below Genesis' everyday price.
That's right. The vault is open, and we're selling the finest handcrafted diamond rings at rock bottom prices. Now for a very limited time.
The GIA is the world standard in diamond grading, certifying accuracy and documenting quality, so you can buy with confidence.
Every Genesis engagement ring is included in this event, from a half carat up to 20 carat stones.
All shapes, rounds, ovals, radiants, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts. There has never been a better time to get an extreme value price on a GIA certified diamond, perfectly set in a gorgeous engagement ring. Hurry in for best selection. It's Genesis Diamonds GIA Diamond Extravaganza.
Save an extra 20% on these rare, precious diamond rings, now for a limited time. One per customer, please.
Exclusively at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Calling all Nashville Sounds baseball fans. You know the 312 Pizza Company in Germantown is the best place to be before or after a Sounds game, but this season, it gets even better. Stop by 312 Pizza Company before or after any Nashville Sounds home game with your day of ticket and get a free old-style beer. That's right, you get a free old-style beer from 312 Pizza just for watching Sounds baseball, only redeemable with purchase. See you at 312 Pizza Company all baseball season long. 312 Pizza Company, a proud sponsor of your Nashville Sounds.
Trust your pets with Cottle Vet Clinic in East Nashville in the heart of Inglewood for compassionate care and your fur baby's optimal health. From vaccinations to health checkups with on-site pharmacy, teeth cleaning, grooming, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures, trust Cottle Vet, now offering boarding. Visit CottleVetClinic.com to learn more. We know you love your pet. And at Cottle Vet Clinic, pets are family.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
The Nashville Sheriff wants to pay you $55,700 a year. Now hiring correctional officers. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or a GED. Come, join our family and earn $55,700 after paid training and probation. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Nashville's radio version of The Odd Couple.
You would trade for the third pick? Yeah, I don't know that I would do that.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode.
I'm here for the discussion. I'm not. It's a good one.
It's absurd. Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 9.
Win the games. When they get in the playoff, they'll have a chance to.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Here comes the money.
And you can take that to the bank.
Here comes the money.
It is now time to take it to the bank with F&M Bank. Customer Community F&M Bank. Banking made easy on purpose. At F&M Bank, their mission is to make lives better by making banking easier. So visit one of their 20 locations throughout Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky or online at myfmbank.com. Let's do a little bit of a recap of last week. How did we do, our Commissioner Nick Frazier?
Well, I ended up going successful with my pick, Nashville SC to beat Cincinnati on the road. That was a ka-ching, ka-ching.
Ka-ching.
D-Mace had Detroit again in the series. I do believe they won 2 of the 3. I can double-check that, but I'm more than certain they did.
Ching, ching.
Ka-ching.
Okay.
And Caroline.
I took it to the bank that by Tuesday of training camp, the Titans were going to sign a new offensive lineman. Ka-ching. That they did. Thank you, Evander Jones. Jamarco Jones. Kangaroo Jones.
Kangaroo Jones. That's what I call him.
Jamarco Mayweather. Whatever you want to call
Was not at the UFC event. I texted you all. Was not there.
Not at the
Did
UFC
see Vrabel, though. Vrabel was having a good old time.
Oh, man.
Oh, good for Vrabel.
good.
Cutting loose a little bit. All right, who wants to go first this week? Who is taking it to the bank?
Can we safely say that you could take to the bank that Phil Mickelson will be betting on something over the weekend?
I'm sure you could.
For his bank account's sake. I hope he's not. Maybe F&M Bank can help him out a little bit. Have you haven't seen, it came out that Phil Mickelson bet more than $1 billion. And in what time period? Yeah. How long was that?
I don't know. That
over the past
like
3 decades.
Over the past 3 decades.
Yeah.
Okay. But Phil Mickelson did tweet. He was like, look, I've been very open and forthright about my gambling addiction. So I guess the numbers came out and they were so shocking that it's made waves. But there was a whole lot of coverage, I think like this past summer, this past winter, about Phil Mickelson and how open he's been about his recovery from gambling addiction.
If he is recovered. But
recovered.
The allegation from this book that's coming out is that he wanted to place a big bet on the Ryder Cup, which is obviously out of bounds.
Big no-no.
And he denies that. And, of course, the guy said, I didn't let him bet on that because the guy says, hey, look at Pete Rose. You can't bet on golf. But he wanted to. He was addicted, whatever. So
I think it's
that sort of.
It's like, it's bad for him, but do we? I don't care. That's his money. You want to bet it away. And
that's a lot.
30 for 30 in 5 or 10 years, they're going to do on Phil Mickelson. And it's going to.
It's going to be spicy.
It's going to be spicy, and people shouldn't feel sorry about, because he put himself in the situation.
It's
if
his
indeed,
money and his choice.
He goes and say he loses all his money. Well, I think you knew that was coming if you are a betting man like him.
All right.
T is betting on the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. Because could he be kicked out of golf?
I'm sure that I don't know what the rule is,
what
but
kind
I'm
of
sure
suspension that
can't
is.
do that.
That's
Absolutely.
a big no-no.
That's why I think he joined LIV was just because the absurd amount of money that he was offered, and also it's a breakaway league from the PGA, so it doesn't go by
Not
the
anymore.
PGA's rule. Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore.
All right, here's my take it to the bank. When we watch the broadcast tomorrow, I'm going to set the over on 5.5 or more players where somebody is going to say he's had a great camp so far.
Oh, that is a good
All right,
one.
now, so we're going to have to watch. You guys try to keep it. Nick, if you're watching, let's see if we can keep it unofficial. But let's set it at 5.5 for the number of, let's say, Titans players who have had either an impressive camp or he's had a great camp.
Or he's really impressed in camp.
Yeah, does that count for
some
somebody
version
else
of
as well?
that?
Like, say they say it from Malik Willis twice, does that count, or does it have to be? For
No, it's got to be
players?
different players.
Okay.
Let's say
So
5.5 players.
Had great camp.
Have had an impressive camp. Have shown up great in camp. Some version of that.
Just in the Titans broadcast.
Just Titans guys. Yeah.
Okay. How many of those will be Corey Curtis?
It could be any of the people. any of the
Who's
announcers.
doing the broadcasting for this game? Let me see.
Is Charles Davis back doing
might
it?
Be Charles
I don't.
Davis. Does it say who's doing?
I know
their
Corey
game?
Curtis will be on the sidelines for the Titans
Yeah.
broadcast. I'll go at 2.5.
it doesn't-
Over 2.5. Corey Curtis.
It doesn't.
I mean, Corey,
say.
he's doing his job.
Yeah, he is doing
I mean,
his
he's
job.
going to be featuring the people who have had a great camp.
He should
so,
talk about the
yeah.
guys who have had a great camp.
Yeah.
Okay. My take it to the bank is that I'm trying to look for the announcers so I can say their names. But the announcers will at least, maybe throughout the whole game, pronounce Traylon Burks' name wrong.
Traylon.
They will call him Traylon Burks.
It'll
Which
be
is
Paul
what you're saying
Burney's-
is wrong.
Which I believe it's
Traylon.
Traylon. Yes, Traylon Burks. He hasn't corrected us like local media.
I think he's corrected Treylon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Okay.
Treylon.
Mhm.
So my take it to the bank is one of the guys is going to say, or girls, whoever is doing the commentating,
But this
is going
would
to
be
say Treylon.
But we're going to well, you're saying on the Bears broadcast?
No,
That's
on the
what I would-
broadcast, national broadcast, because
Paul Burmeister and Charles Davis.
yeah. I
Okay,
think one
so
of
it's
them-
not a national broadcast. It's the Channel 2 doing the game?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they should get it right.
I still
They
think they're
should
going to
get-
say
you still think
Treylon.
that-
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody's going to
I
say
hear a lot of that-
Treylon Burks.
That used to drive me crazy about Marcus Mariota because the first year I could get it, but when he'd been in the league 3 or 4 years,
They were calling him Mariota, wasn't it?
a lot of guys or I mean announcers, guys or girls, reporters, whatever, would say Mariota. It's like it's not Mariota.
They do the same thing with Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
It's not Alvin Kamara. It's Alvin Kamara.
Now that one I understood a little bit more because it was wrong for a
A
while.
lot of people have said it wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. So my ticket thing for tomorrow, Malik Willis will be the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans tomorrow. And I'll go to a second one, too. In the Colts preseason game, if and when Anthony Richardson does play, he will complete 50% or fewer of his passes. I will take that to the bank.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And that's no hate to Anthony Richardson. I like Anthony Richardson. He's just got a completion percentage problem. And he's I mean, he completed
That's a bad problem to have as a quarterback.
53% of his passes
Yeah,
at
you're
Florida
right.
this
I think
past
that's right.
season. It was not
You're
great.
speaking
Not
facts.
a shining indictment of Anthony Richardson. I like Anthony Richardson. I'm scared for Anthony Richardson if and when he does, realize his full potential in Indianapolis. But he hasn't done that quite yet. So Malik Willis, cha-ching, starting quarterback tomorrow. Not that I agree with it, but that's what I think it's going to be. And Anthony Richardson, not great.
The Malik Willis one, I think you will get that one. I would be surprised.
Is that too safe of a bet? Is that a safe bet?
No, because they really haven't. Because of where this team is, like the dynamics of the offensive line, and they got to see where their offense is. So, no, but I think it's highly likely that he will be the starter from at least what we've seen in practice. And I don't think they're going to put Ryan Tannehill out there. I would be surprised if they did. Not shocked, but surprised in a sense if they put him out there. But I think they're going to go with Malik Willis.
I do want to see Tannehill, and we're going to see both Malik and Will Levis. We should see both Malik
I think
and Will Levis.
I think we're going to see both of them. Better yet, you should have said who plays the longest.
Who plays better?
Oh, well, I'm sure that'll be the subject of Monday's show. All right, now here's one on as we go out. Kevin Brown, the announcer for the Orioles, that was sidelined. The Orioles say he was not suspended for the stupidest thing ever.
Ridiculous.
Him reading a graphic that was a positive graphic that was absurd, and everybody's come to his defense. He released a statement. You want to hear the statement?
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
O's fans, I'm a storyteller, and I never want to be a part of the story. The most compelling story in baseball right now is the story of the league-leading Baltimore Orioles, the best, most exciting young team in the American League. Unfortunately, recent media reports have mischaracterized my relationship with my adopted hometown Orioles. The fact that I have a wonderful relationship with the organization and our ownership in the front office has fully supported me since 2019 when I first came aboard. I ask that everyone disregard the distracting noise of the past few days. I've worked closely with O's Senior Vice President Greg Bader for the past 4 years, and John Angelos and I have a solid dialogue based on mutual respect. We're all good here in Birdland, proud to be an Oriole, and call Baltimore home. No place in baseball I'd rather be right now, and for the long haul. Go O's!
That sounds a little sassy.
So, like
you made me the story.
Yeah. And it's basically saying,
disregard what happened. He got suspended for 2 weeks for doing nothing.
Management is saying, please,
That's
can you get
ridiculous.
these fans off of us and just make a statement saying everything is good?
How about the organization make a statement and say they screwed up and they screwed this guy?
It's embarrassing. For
It
the
is
Baltimore
embarrassing.
Orioles. That's going to do it for us today. Titans football tomorrow. We'll be back Monday at 11 a.m.
Be love and love on your people. Peace.